6 rounds of racing and 6 different winners. Big Buck, Stu Baylor. Wild Boar, Ben Kelly. The General, Craig DeLong. Tiger Run, Ricky Russell. Camp Coker Bullet, Grant Baylor. The Hoosier, Johnny Gerard. Round number 7, the John Penton GNCC. Will we see our first repeat winner, or will we keep this historical season in line? Josh Strang has won the last 2 John Penton GNCCs. Is he poised to take his 3rd in a row? And our defending national champion, Jordan Ashburn, sealed the deal on his national championship on this property, albeit the Burr Oak GNCC at the end of the season. But a historical season already, more history about to be written. All that and more starts now on RacerTV.com.
GNCC Racing! Good afternoon and welcome to round number 7 of the 2023 Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. We are here in southeastern Ohio, the Russell Family Farm, Sunday Creek Raceway. We know it as the John Penton, the Wiseco John Penton GNCC. Johnny, we're over the hump, round 7, a 12-round season this year. Historical season, to say the least. I can't believe we're still saying this. 6 rounds of racing, 6 different winners, the latest being Johnny Gerard.
We are halfway through the 2023 GNC season, and we do not yet have a repeat winner for the overall on the bike side of things.
Nobody was calling this.
No.
And if you did, you're crazy. You go buy a lottery ticket. The big question, okay, are we finally at that point, Johnny, where we see our first repeat winner of 2023? Or does the man who's gotten wins here the last 2 years, Josh Strang, get a win? Or does the defending national champion get his first win of the year?
Listen, at this point, the only thing I can say is expect the unexpected.
Yes.
And the problem is I don't know what to expect, so I don't know what's unexpected.
Yep.
It's that wild. After round 3, I thought, okay, we'll get a repeat winner at round 4. After round 4, I thought, for sure at round 5. Yeah. After round 5, oh, it's a done deal. This round, we're going to see who really wants this title, who's going to back up their first win with their second win. It still hasn't happened. You mentioned, obviously, we know the 6 guys that have won to this point, with Johnny Gerard being the most recent winner. At this point, it wouldn't shock me if we saw an XC2 guy come up and bust through for the overall.
We almost had it.
We almost had it 2 weeks ago. But that said, I honestly don't know. You made some great points. Jordan Ashburn, obviously, your defending national champion. Big number 1 plate on his machine. You know he wants to grab that win and show everybody, hey, not only did I win this title, but I can also back it up with everybody here. I need some wins. And after a heartbreaker of a race 2 weeks ago at the Hoosier, he really needs the points and he needs the confidence. Josh Strang has won the last 2 John Penton GNCCs, so what's to say he wouldn't do it again? We're going to find out real soon.
Yeah, you made a really good point about Jordan Ashburn, and to echo that, Ashburn is a guy that always, no matter what the circumstances is, ice in his veins, he's cool and calm and collected. Not necessarily the case after Hoosier. Uncharacteristic, seeing his frustration, it was visible on him. So I got to think, I won't say over it, but he's moved on from it, and he's very focused on having some success here today.
I believe that. You know, Jordan is he's a consummate professional, and I actually liked the frustration we saw out of him 2 weeks ago, because he's normally so even cool and just, you know, ho-hum, oh bother, kind of. To see that emotion, I mean, he's pouring his heart and soul into these race days. He's working hard, and it's just not translating into the results he wants just yet. And it was the second heartbreaker of a mechanical or conditions failure at both of the mud races, which is where he normally shines. And, you know, he's getting frustrated. So, you know, there is a little bit of rain in the forecast. If we see that come down, it really could be a situation where Jordan likes the mud and Jordan puts it out front.
That's it. Hey, and we would be remiss not to talk about the incredible ride in the XC2 class. Both Liam Draper and Mike Wachowski. We talked about it during the race, Johnny. Two guys that, if you were to say who are the two guys that need a success, a positive takeaway from a race, and without a doubt, I think unanimously everybody would say Wachowski and Draper. Well, they both got it, albeit a heartbreaker for Liam Draper at the end.
A heartbreaker for Liam Draper, literally within sight of the finish line. A lap rider stopped in the line he was in, and Mike Wachowski literally came to a stop as well. And we've seen the video on Instagram afterwards, and that's how the pass happened. But that said, to me, the exciting thing about that race, those two were glued to each other basically from turn one until the checkered flag, and it was just such good racing. And to see Mike Wachowski, the resurgence of the man that we saw winning so much in the last couple years, switches teams, just hasn't really found his groove yet, and he found it in a big way, not only winning the XC2 class, but coming through with the big P3 overall, knocking Ben Kelly off that final podium position for the overall. And then Liam Draper, I mean, there's not much you can say except as disappointed as he was, and rightfully so. I mean, he did everything right. It was just one of those things, wrong place at the wrong time.
It happens. So both guys, I think, look for big things out of them. And then, of course, guys, Cody Barnes coming off a podium. Rui Barbosa wants to get back to his winning ways. Where is Lyndon Snodgrass, Johnny Gallagher?
That is honestly, I don't know. I haven't heard. I know he wasn't even on the course at the last race, so we maybe can try to catch up with him and find out what's going on. But your defending champion just not in the mix at the moment, and it's really blown this XC2 title fight wide open.
Been an interesting one in the XC3. Things continue to develop there. Dakota DeVore coming off a big win in the Hoosier.
Yeah, grabbing the win, and followed closely by the mud specialist Jay Lipscomb, and then Toby Cleveland there rounding out the podium in third. So always great battles there in that FMF XC3 class, and we expect to see more of that today.
Going to be a good one, Walt. We've had so many winners this season. We had the chance to catch up with another one of our top riders in the XC1 prior to today's race.
Yeah, it's been great. It took a little while to sink in, and I just finally got that monkey off my back and had some rough luck. Coming into the season, I was feeling good down in Florida, and just injuries and antibiotics and stomach issues, and just finally coming around and feeling good again. So it was really cool to get my first XC1 win. It felt good, and looking forward to carrying the momentum.
Well, getting the perspective from a rider perspective, love hearing their outlook coming into a race day. Johnny, you've heard from us. You've gotten some rider perspective. Now we want to see what we face. We know we got the John Penton section out there, but there's more, so we'll throw it to Jared Bolton with the Yamaha track description.
Well, thanks, guys. Here we are at the John Penton GNCC, the longest running GNCC on the schedule. That's for good reason. This is a true, somewhat old school. We'll call it old school. It still holds that old school mentality when you come here to the John Penton. Really awesome race course. Now, if you don't like slick Ohio clay, this isn't your favorite racetrack. But the Ohio guys that are good at that, they really love it because they're good at it. Naturally, they're going to love it. Guys from down south, like me, say, man, red clay's the slickest thing on the face of the planet. Well, let me tell you something. The first time I came here to the John Penton, it was slick and nasty, and I realized pretty quickly that the red clay that I grew up riding down south has nothing on this Ohio clay. So what I'm getting at is, when the rain falls here at the John Penton, this course becomes really slick, really tough, literally like riding on ice. But overall, there's a lot of places to move around, try to ride the edges, get out of that stuff. This course is a little bit on the tighter side, but there's still some wide open areas, some grass track, and you know what I'm going to say, a little something for everyone. And for the bike guys, we've got that infamous John Penton section out in the back. It's rugged, it's tight, it's single track all the way around. It adds on 3 miles this year, giving those bike guys a 14-mile course, long, grueling, tough weekend of racing. That's this weekend's track description. Back to you guys.
All right, folks, and there you have it. Jared Bolton with the track description, letting you folks at home know what these riders are going to be facing. We're going to let this guy right here go do the famous Mikey Wayne's 10-second call. We'll be back with Racer TV right after this word from our sponsors.
All-new Yamaha YZ450F. Narrower, more compact, and lighter. Built to do one thing: go faster. Flexible financing options offered directly through Yamaha are available. See your local Yamaha dealer today.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida, where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
Tires, a division of Greenball Corp, has been in the tire business for over 44 years. we're passionate about developing quality tires that perform great and bring extraordinary value to our customers. Whether you're looking for a tire that can handle your off-road adventures, need a reliable tire to take you from job site to job site, or simply want a tire with a beefier look that won't break the bank, then check out Canati Tires.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
ontrackschool.com. Check it out.
In the premier form of off-road motorcycle racing in the world, it's the beginning of a new era. 17 Supercross, 11 motocross, and those 3 playoff rounds.
Super Motocross World Championship Final. Tickets on sale now. Visit supermotocross.com.
30-second card is up. We've talked all about it. We've watched practice and qualifying. We've theorized. We've bench raced. Now it is time to go. Race her up. James down. Side by side we go. Jet Lawrence, Justin Cooper in front of the crowd. Winner from Chase Sexton. Can anyone else get up in the mix? They have been 1-2 in the last 7 motos of this championship. Here we go.
Every race, every day, in every way. Print, social, digital, video, photo. Every race, every day. Every result, every story, every rider, everything. Moto every day. With Racer X.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association has been setting a standard for motorcycle coaching since 2016. Coaching is important for all riders, no matter the age or skill level. The USMCA connects riders with coaches, whether the rider is just starting out on their motorcycling journey, to a competitive amateur racer looking to reach their next milestone, or the professional athlete trying to clinch a title. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app and get connected to a USMCA certified coach today.
Yamaha YZ450F. Narrower, more compact, and lighter. Built to do one thing: go faster. Flexible financing options offered directly through Yamaha are available. See your local Yamaha dealer today.
GNCC Racing is brought to you by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
You're not doing the monster mile. Those 2 mile marks in there are basically on parts of the ATV track that you guys aren't riding now, but we kind of added in some different stuff, kept you out of the really, really nasty stuff. Zigzagging back and forth. You also won't see the 4 mile mark sign. You're really close to it. Basically, you're going to see the 1 mile mark, and you're not going to see another mile marker sign for quite a while. But you're zigzagging back and forth. The morning route, all of that, they've made it way better. You're going to continue on around over to the 5 mile mark, over to the checkpoint after the 5, and then you are doing the John Penton section. It adds on 3 miles. It's a lot of really good stuff. I think most of you have probably walked it, biked it, whatever, seen what's over there. They've only made a couple little changes to a couple little things. By and far, you are riding everything. It's all in. Good ups and downs, tough, old school, good single track over there. The first 1.5 miles of that over there really tests you, and then the second 1.5 miles kind of mellows out a little bit. And when I say mellows out a little bit, I mean it just gets easier than what the first half was. It's still not easy. Then you're going to come back over just a few feet past where you left the trail, and you're headed over towards the 6 mile mark. That stuff over there just before the 6 is probably the sloppiest stuff you'll ride, and it's really not that bad. A lot of the morning guys kind of got in there and killed their batteries and that kind of stuff. That's why this is taking so long. We had to get everybody out from that general area. So when you get in there, you guys all know what to do. You're just going to use your momentum, kind of keep rolling through those ruts, and you won't have any trouble because the majority of those guys made it this morning, so you guys will be just fine. You're going to get from the 6 to the 7 pretty quick, kind of skipping that one little piece over there. And then after the 7, you're kind of riding the full track the rest of the way around. Come back around, cross over the road. Good little ups and downs over there, out to the field at the 8 mile mark, back in the woods again, back in the field again. You're going to come over back on this side towards the pro pits, back up and around to the 9 mile mark, and a really fun section back around 9 to the 10. Ups and downs, it's dried out a lot, nothing too hard. And then from the 10, you're going to kind of cut back over, tie right back in here by the start, bring you back around. So originally, you guys were at 11 miles over here and 3 miles in that Penton section for 14. You know, we cut a little bit out here and there, but I think you guys are still, even with that stuff cut out, you guys are still going to end up riding about 12-mile loops. Really good stuff out there. Like I said, the conditions have gotten a whole lot better than what they were. And for once, you guys got the best track of the weekend. So good luck, be safe, have fun, and pay attention to those arrows, everybody.
Well, thank you for that, Jared Bolton. With the course description wrapped up, we have our official trail inspector, Taylor Jones. You've been out and about all weekend long. I know it's been gnarly, but hey, to echo what Jared Bolton was saying, how are you feeling? Is this track certified?
Yeah, no, it's looking pretty good. For the whole weekend it wasn't, but now it's actually tacking up. There's some ruts out there, but it's all certified and ready to go. The John Penton section is going to be interesting, but I made it and I'm a girl, so you guys should be fine.
No pressure out there. Take it away, DJ Judd.
Safety first. GNCC Racing, like all cycle sports, can be dangerous. Racers, now that you have had an opportunity to inspect the race course, have heard the race procedures and a description of the race course, if you feel that either you or your bicycle is not prepared, then now is the time for you to withdraw for a complete refund of your entry fee. No questions asked. It is your responsibility to operate your bicycle in a safe manner, maintaining control at all times. Extreme caution is required when approaching areas with high concentration of fans. Do not take unnecessary risks that endanger the safety of fans. You will be penalized for reckless racing. Race fans, due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the race course. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and your children a safe distance from the race course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers and use extreme caution when crossing the race course. And remember, stay off the track. For the safety of everyone, unauthorized drones are prohibited and will be confiscated. Finally, unauthorized pit vehicles are prohibited and may be confiscated. Absolutely no pit vehicles permitted in the woods or on the racetrack. Crew members are prohibited from using pit vehicles during the race. Thank you for your cooperation. Have fun and race safe.
All right, now that we've got that wrapped up, before I throw it to Ricky Towery for a word of prayer, we have a special guest with us here this weekend. What did you say? Not the sheriff, the deputy director of racing operations, Mr. Mike Burkeen of the AMA is with us here this weekend. Mike's been a minute. Saw you, I think, last time maybe Minios, but we're not too close to the headquarters here at the Penton, or at least as close as we get. So what brought you out this weekend?
Well, it was a beautiful day. I know yesterday was a little bit of a challenge for everybody, but it was a beautiful day. So I hopped on my motorcycle and rode down here. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out. Thank you for your membership in the AMA and supporting us. And thanks to you, Mikey, and all your crew at the GNCC. Those guys do a great job, and wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I have a weekend off, so what do? Go to a race.
Hey, man, you just echoed everybody's thoughts here. We get a weekend off, what do? Go find something to watch that's got some high octane in it. So say hello, stop by. Mike Burkeen, great guy to know. If you see him out and about, swing by and say hello to him here. Wonderful to have him with us. So without further ado, I believe we are ready to turn things over to Mr. Ricky Towery, and we ask for your undivided attention as he leads us in a word of prayer.
Thank you, Mikey. Hey, let's go to the Lord. Let's have a word of prayer together this afternoon. Heavenly Father, once again, we do thank you for bringing us all together safely to such a beautiful place to have a little fun. The sun's come out. Looks like it's turned into a beautiful day. Lord, we just ask you will watch over these riders this afternoon. Keep them safe. Let them go out there and have a good time together. Once again, continue to watch over our military men and women in all parts of the world each and every day, watching over this country so we can be free to come out here and have some fun together. Be with our leaders every day at the high level and the local level, that they will make the right decisions for our country. Lord, this is John Penton weekend. We thank you for Mr. Penton and his family for what they've done for our sport through the years. Continue to bless that family and watch over them. Lord, we just ask you when we head down the road home this afternoon that you would take us all home safely so we can get back together again one day to have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Amen, Ricky Towery. Thank you for that word of prayer. And as Ricky now has made his way over into turn number 1, this is a moment where, if you have not already, we ask that you please remove your hats, cross your hearts, just like our XC2 guys down there, shout out, walking up and leading us in this, as we give attention to our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, we are just about ready to set things off now. Here at the Wiseco John Penton GNCC. And I believe just about ready to go. Normally this is the part where we start doing our rider intros. Normally we're doing our rider intros right now. I want to make sure we're not still on a holding pattern. If we are, I might just powwow with some of our pro riders. There, he's right there. Okay. On cue. On cue. All right, now we're ready, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, if you're here on property, you're already ready to go and you're chomping at the bit. If you're at home, like you guys right there in your television set, it's time for your pro rider introductions. And riding to the line in accordance to points. Rolling to the line first, the 530 out of Connecticut on an FMF factory KTM, Ben Kelly. Rolling to the line next, the 342 out of Morgantown, Pennsylvania on a Rockstar Energy factory Husqvarna, Craig DeLong. Rolling to the line next, the 514 out of Hodges, South Carolina on a Rocky Mountain ATV MC Teely Energy KTM, Stu Baylor. Rolling to the line next, the 212 out of Devol, Washington, aboard the Am-Pro Yamaha. He's rough, he's rowdy, Ricky Russell. Rolling to the line next, the 314 out of South Carolina on a Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, the Grizzly Grant Baylor. Rolling to the line next, your defending 2022 national champion on a Magna One Motorsports Husqvarna, Jordan Ashburn. Rolling to the line next, the number 17. He hails from Australia aboard the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, Josh Strang. And last but certainly not least, coming off a big win just a couple of weeks ago at the Hoosier GNCC out of Boonville, North Carolina on an FMF factory KTM, Johnny Girard. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row here for this Wiseco John Penton GNCC. And with our pro rider introductions wrapped up, and DJ Judd exits the Monster Energy Activation Transport. He jumps into the RMAX 1000 Yamaha. And this is the point in the race where we like to say, DJ Judd, remove the beats. That's right, like a Beyond Burger, we remove the meat. Just kidding. We double up on the meat. That's how we do it at GNCC, baby. So as DJ Judd exits the starting line, all eyes turn down into turn number 1, where the maestro himself, Ricky Towery, goes through the motions and gets ready to set things in place for the Wiseco John Penton GNCC. Ricky Towery now looks down at the watch. He steps forward. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute until we are ready to go. GNCC Racing. And look at this. 6 rounds of racing in the books. 6 different winners. Will we see a 7th here today? Strang, he's won the last 2 Pentons. Jordan Ashburn wrapped up his national championship on this property at the Burr Oak GNCC. Ashburn also picked up his first win in the XC2 here. It is a special place. Blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As we are just about shut them down. I heard that one guy in the back. And as we are just about ready to go, I gotta ask you, Southeastern Ohio, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Oh, that's pretty good, but we have a special guest here this weekend, Ohio's own, the Rodney Tomlin. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you get the home state fans fired up, Rodney Tomlin.
All righty, thank you very much, Mikey. All righty, Ohio, I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Seconds, and row number 1, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling at the Wiseco John Penton GNCC.
Woo! If that don't give you cold chills, this will. Look at the battle for the whole shot. Who got it? I don't know. We're 4 wide. Strang, Ricky Russell, Johnny Gerard, and Grant Baylor all in the mix. We're going to have to look at the replay on Racer TV to know who got that one. Boy, if that's any indication of what was in store for us today, the fans are in for a treat. You waited long enough. We're going to put on a show. XC2 250 Pro Class ready to go in 10 seconds. Ryder Lafferty, Rui Barbosa, Angus Reardon, Bub, Sasha, Zach Osborne, Mason Simmons, Liam Draper, Brody Johnson, Mike Wachowski, Brendan Poling, Jesse Ansley, Evan Smith, Felipe Chain, Jonathan Johnson. Oh, and that's going to go to the 35 of Angus Reardon for the XC2 class, as all the tension now turns to the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am. 10 seconds. FMF XC3, Toby Cleveland, Van Goslin, Jay Snob, Dakota DeVore, Sawyer, Karatura, Jason Liscombe, Jack Walker, and Zach Hayes. Oh, jockeying for position out front, he goes down. The 5-4-5 grabs the whole shot. That's Sawyer Karatura. Toby Cleveland with the mistake in the first turn. Gonna have some making up to do here in the XC3. Open A, ready to roll in 10 seconds. Dylan De La Cruz, Ezra Prine, Samuel Evans, Zachary Davidson, Jeremy Wallstrom, Russell Smith, Jacob Carter, Hunter Bush, Alex Luger, Chase Colville, James Clark, Keaton Coleman, Dalton Young, Trevor Goetz, Sam Hall, and Hunter Smith. The 101 of Samuel Evans on an AOMC backed KTM grabs a whole shot. He's got the early lead, and here we go with a 250A. Trevor Maley, Cooper Jones, Tyler Palmer, Jason Tino, Gavin Simon, Belton B. Roth in 10 seconds. Will Stephen Piper, Seth Bevington, Nathan Delaney, Joe Cunningham, Brayden Nolet, Michael DeLosa, Cole Whitmer, Lane Whitmer, Tristan Landrum. Here we go through turn number 1, the 501 of Joe Cunningham. No debates there. A young man riding on rails. A little checkup from the neck up from JoJo, but it don't matter. 4-stroke A lights, Ryan Piper, Huck Jenkins, Caleb Baltimore in 10 seconds. Colton Shields, Nick DeFeo, Ty Ely, Ash Brewer, Matthew Hollenbeck, Eli Childers, Isaiah Brown, Matthew Davis, Cade Henderson, Caleb Hines, Brady Weimer, Brady Myers, and Peyton Feather. Who wants it? Oh, the 21 with a good drive right there, and he'll take it. Whole shot going to the number 21 KTM as we focus now on the 150A class. Tyler Shields, Jimmy Bruder, David Johnston, Dylan Carino, Walker Morrison, Thor Powell. 10 seconds, 150A. Bang, there they go. Thor Powell up the inside. Has to check up a little bit. Little dab right there by Thor. That's the 815 at a Jackson, Florida on a Triangle Fox Factory Connection back ride. A Thor Powell grabbing that whole shot and early lead. Here we go. Junior A 25 plus in 10 seconds. Adam Machinsky, Benjamin Fricks, Evan Maynard, Aaron Higgins, Matthew Dreher, Brad Esper, Wesley Schmidt, Caleb Williams, Gregory Funk. Who's got the funk? Gregory's got the funk. Matt Modick, Luke Prager, Andrew Boggs, and Braden Moore. And the 540, Caleb Williams out of Jefferson, Pennsylvania on the Husqvarna will take the early lead in the whole shot. Here we go. Vet A 30 plus, ready to roll in 10 seconds. Mark Carrasco Jr., Robbie Norwood, Jeremy Washington, Miguel Gomez, Charles Hugel, Michael Funk, Daniel Sims, Kevin Depew, and James Bauer. 468 on the machine. That's a 404 on the helmet. That's going to be Daniel Sims out of Greencastle, Indiana on that Dreyer Motorsports back ride. I got you, Jonathan Schaff, looking out. Senior A 40 plus, 10 seconds. Joe Marsh, Frank Messina, Cody Hosta, Joshua Wyatt, Vinnie Tomich, Stephen Meacham, Jim Johnson, Joel Stoltz, and Darren Darmos. Oh, look at that. Thing of beauty right there. Love the line choices or the starting position choices. That'll go to the 734. I'm going to say the 724. Union City, Pennsylvania's Joel Stoltz. Or Stoltz. Sorry about that, Joel. I got you. Open B. 10 seconds. Chandler Taylor, Isaac Brunty, Arden Shelley, Mark Cole, Lane Morrison, Bryce Myers, Joseph Burchard, Colton Coons. Taylor Myers, Anthony Opplinger, Skylar Smith, Jacob Maynard, Nate Garrison, and Cody Collier. That's going to go to the 401, Elaine Morrison out of Carrollton, Missouri on a Fly Racing and an FXR-backed Gas. 10 seconds for the 250B. Ty Atkinson, John Bottomy, Colby Kimbrough, Jacob Steele, Rivers Morris, Caleb Slagle, Blaine. Woo! 143, wild start right there. Caleb Slagle, Bane Croft, Andrew Adams, Brady Robbins, Ryder Marshall. That's going to go to the 228. That is Rivers Morris out of Pawsley Island, South Carolina on that Battery Park off-road backed ride. As we turn our attention now to the four-stroke B lights. Ricky went around the corner. Do we have a rider down? I didn't catch that one. We got a lot of banners down here. Product placement, baby. We're here for it. Four-stroke B lights coming up next. Rayleigh Messer, Landon Hines, Bryce Alkery, Hunter Barron. 10 seconds. Drew Hoffman, Clayton Robbins, Dylan Miller, Brock Belsole, Keenan Rupp, Andrew Seegers, Griffin Coleman, Mikey Moon. A lot of people don't know it. Mikey Moon, actually the second cousin of Jackie Moon. He used to play for the Flint Tropics. There he is, the 433. Clayton Robbins out of New Jersey on that Robbins Water Service backed KTM. Here we go, 150B, Brady Beerbaum, Briars Menace. 10 seconds. Trevor Golden, Ryan Richards, Arson Broger, Noah McGraw, Landon Hamilton, and Caden Childers. Oh, look at the strategy in play by the 505. He said, I want that inside line. Doesn't quite pay off. Oh, the 317, bumping and grinding. 317 will get it. That was it for the 150P. Here we go, Junior B 25 plus in 10 seconds. Braden Van Ray, Devin Hall, Logan Robinette, Leroy Petrie, Steven Scoble, Terry Williams, Douglas Randolph, Timmy McIntyre, Dylan Davis, Torrin Borkland, Travis Martin, Andrew Waldrop, Luke Hendrickson. Ooh, big pile up in turn number 1. Whole shot gonna go to the 612 of Dylan Davis on the KTM, getting it done in the home state early. Can he keep it up for the entire race? We'll wait and see. Vet B 30 plus. 10 seconds. Adam O'Dill, Nick Blank, Rick Stanley, Scott Hopper, Joseph Reimer, Zachary Taylor, Daniel Zortman, Matthew Saseen, Jeffrey Harris, Sean Kilkenny, David Rutter Jr., Johnny Snyder, and Sean Natazzi. That's going to be the 592 of Sean Kilkenny out of North Carolina on the KTM. Here we go, Senior B, 45 plus, ready to go in 10 seconds. George Kleins, Larry Hopper, Brandon Clayton, and Jason Cottrell. All right, we got 2 riders off the line, a third, and I think that's it. That is it. Let's keep our eyes on the battle. Good two-way battle out front. The 477 of Jason Cottrell out of Walker, West by God, Virginia on the Kawasaki. Grabs the whole shot. He's got the early lead. And boy, do we have a wild race developing. Are you kidding me? A 4-way, from my eyes, a 4-way tie for the whole shot. We're going to have to look at the camera footage to sort that one out. It was pretty daggone crazy. You're in for a historical day here at the Wiseco John Penton GNCC. Take a short break. We'll get a word from our sponsors, and then we come back. More for the Wiseco John Penton GNCC.
All-new Yamaha YZ450F. Narrower, more compact, and lighter. Built to do one thing: go faster. Flexible financing options offered directly through Yamaha are available. See your local Yamaha dealer today.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
Amsoil runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida, where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees, and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
GNCC Racing is brought to you by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Great start. This is round number 7 of the Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized and AMA National Championship. My name is Jackson Burrell, and I'm alongside Zach Heron. Later on, we will be accompanied by Mikey Waynes, but for now, let's turn it to Zach for the start recap.
Yes, thanks, Jackson. Yeah, we've got things off and running. Going to take a look at the Specialized start recap here in just a second. Getting a look on track. The rains came yesterday. If you're just joining us, it was muddy. It was gross yesterday, and it's about time the four-wheelers had to deal with some of that. Now taking a look at the Specialized start recap. Starting off with the XC1, little different start for sure. The sun is out, and it is starting to dry. Trust me, they're going to get muddy, and as we see here, we got a four-way battle coming into the first turn for the whole shot. Ricky Russell, Craig DeLong, and who's that up the inside? The 17 of Josh Strang going to claim the lead when they lead off into the woods with the Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell battling with Johnny Gerard there as they dive off into the woods. Looks like that was DeLong going down tough in the front end as they ducked into the woods there. So we'll see how he's able to return, get back up and going. Now taking a look at that XC2 class. One bike rocketing from the outside, but you see he gets wide off in the thick stuff, and the KTM Angus Rorden there able to bring it up the middle and grab a hold of that whole shot. And this has been tricky all day long. If you're not in that tacky soil, you get off in the thick stuff, you start spinning out, losing traction easily, as we see a couple of those riders getting stuck off in that as well. So you're going to hear a lot of two different stories. A lot of the thick, sticky muck, and then you're going to hear a lot about the super shiny, hard packed. As we see here, Toby Cleveland looks like he's grabbing the whole shot, grabs a little too much gas, and spins the 125 out. And it's going to be the 545 of Sawyer Caratura grabbing the whole shot there in the XC3 125 Pro-Am. And so throttle control going to be crucial. Line selection also very crucial here at this John Penton GNCC. That's the 125s ducking off into the woods. And that is your Specialized start recap. And Jackson, we've been calling racing all day long, getting a look at your leaders when they came into the woods. There is the Babbitt Kawasaki, Josh Strang leading the way. Looks like that is Johnny Gerard sitting in second place. Ricky Russell, Grant Baylor, Ben Kelly now up there as well. There's Craig DeLong, so he is back up and rolling. I believe that was Baylor. And I did get word. So now Ricky Russell has taken over the lead, and he leads the way on the Ampro Yamaha and rocking the blue Mohawk. Those Ampro riders running that this weekend as well. We're joined in the booth by Johnny G himself. Johnny, what are you seeing out there?
Man, I got to tell you, I mean, look at what we're seeing here. These guys are pretty much nose to tail. The conditions right now kind of working as a speed limiter. Nobody really wants to push the pace. You can see they're all just kind of feeling out the traction, feeling out what it is that they've got to work with here today, and everybody just kind of cruising.
It looked like Strang had already fallen back a few positions there from that shot.
Yeah, I believe they said he was down to third or fourth at that point.
Yeah. I mean, this first lap here, we wait here at the Method Alley, the Method Race Wheels, mile marker number 7. We're going to see a lot of shuffling around, I believe. You could see somebody try to make a break for it, but that's a risky move on a day like today. You know, we've seen these conditions just continue to evolve throughout the weekend. All that rain that we got Friday night. Anybody that tuned in yesterday or was here for the race knows that it was just an absolute frog strangler. I mean, there was just water, there was mud, it was just so sloppy, but you see the sun's out. You know the wind's blowing. It just keeps getting better and better. I think we're going to see a race develop today, but I don't think we're going to see a move early. I think we're going to wait and kind of see how things pan out. Another big factor here that we don't have at other races, really, we have pro sections, but here we have the John Penton section, which is a complete, almost, I've heard a lot of guys talk about it and say, hey, this is almost like hard enduro. This is just how technical this section is. So I think we could see a move happen there. A guy like Ricky Russell, he thrives on those kind of conditions. I would say your 2 best extreme enduro riders on the course today, most likely, well, 3 best. Jordan Ashburn has done a number of them. Ricky Russell has those skills being from the Northwest, and then Ben Kelly, also crazy bike skills. But all these guys are, you know, top-level professional dirt bike riders, but those guys might have a little something extra today in that section.
Seems like another big talking point, or at least for the AM race and the youth race as well, is traction. Finding it, and then also knowing throttle control, brake control. You've got the sticky, slick stuff still hanging around from yesterday, but you've also had that sun beating down on the hard pack, giving it a whole different kind of slick.
One of the hardest things about this John Penton racetrack, and honestly this Southern Ohio clay, Zach, is, you know, it's so hard to read. It takes years to kind of pick up the finite differences between something that's going to be complete ice and something that's going to have so much grip that it'll just about shoot the bike out from underneath you. So it is crazy. You know, we've talked about it so much throughout this weekend, but this racetrack really is the biggest obstacle for these guys this weekend, and the dirt is definitely the biggest factor of that here at the John Penton Raceway.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like there we go. So I believe this is the John Penton section they're coming into. And Jackson, for me and you, this is the first time we're laying eyes on this.
Yeah, this section actually looks like it's pretty dry right here. I guess since nobody's been on it, it's not really had that chance to mush up like some of the other places.
Well, let's clarify one thing here, guys. So this is the John Penton section, but this is the this is like the golf course of the John Penton section. Most of it, we can't even get cameras down in there because it's these gnarly valleys. I don't know if you saw the pictures on Instagram of the crazy rock crawls and what these guys are going through, but we always do get this shot from our Yamaha Live drone, and it kind of gives us an update about midway through that Penton section. Looks like everybody's still moving along, so at least the first lap, nobody really getting bitten by the crazy stuff that's out there. But you're exactly right. This is it wasn't churned up. It got to sit in the sun yesterday and today, so this is like the best part of the racetrack for them, but they're getting ready to drop back into another section of woods where there's just, again, extreme enduro type stuff waiting for them.
Definitely good to see everybody up and running, but clearly seeing them spread out rapidly there through the first part of the Penton section. Looks like somebody stuck there. Oh, still catching the, it looks like that might be Baylor. I saw red gear.
It looked almost like Jordan Ashburn. It was hard to tell, though. We'll see when those guys pop out who looks like they've lost a few positions. But, Jackson, back to your point, you know, Josh Strang was in the point position back there in third. I don't think big sense of urgency from him. I mean, he's won this John Penton the last 2 times we were here. You know, he's still within 3 bike lengths to the leader. That said, you know, the true tale for Josh Strang will be as the pace picks up, which it will today, does he have the stuff to go with? And on a racetrack like today, I wouldn't be shocked to see him up there battling amongst the podium positions or even for the lead throughout the day.
I'm excited to see this pace pick up. Like you said, we had a chance to talk to our WXC winner, Rachel Archer, and she was saying they had got all the mud off, they thought, and it was going to be a great track. So we'll just have to see as they go around here.
Yeah, the Ampro Yamaha seem to have something figured out. I think it's the aerodynamic Mohawk. I'm a big fan of it. Rachel was running it as well. I asked her if there was any strategy behind that. She said it was so they could help pick her out going through the woods. But nonetheless, once again, we see an Ampro Yamaha up front as Ricky Russell doing more of the same.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's not only can it help them pick out their riders, it helps us pick out the riders. And we won't have the issue today like we had yesterday or even like we've had at some of the previous mud races, you know, where it was just brown guy. We'll be able to see who these guys are. But looking at the track here, again, the biggest obstacle for these guys in this John Penton GNCC today is going to be that Penton section. But, you know, it's a very dynamic race course here, guys. It's a long race course. That Penton section adding a lot of time. And the track crew's just done a phenomenal job working their way through the track changes throughout the weekend so far.
Yeah, we've seen the track develop more and more. I call it almost a metamorphosis out here. Just incredible. I wish you guys could see the pit area because it's probably the worst area on the property. The track itself, probably the best soil out here right now. It's been worked over between the ATVs yesterday and the bikes today. But yeah, this track really developing good, and I saw a lot of big roots coming up as well out here in the Ohio soil.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's rooty, it's rocky. You know, there's a lot going on out there, and there's plenty of obstacles for these guys, and you know, it's going to really shake out the top 10. And here we're looking at them, the top 10 overall as they sit right now in points, guys.
Yeah, it's the Red Bull FMF KTM rider Ben Kelly leading the way with 129 points, only 5 points in front of the Rockstar Energy Husky Craig DeLong. Stu Baylor sitting there in third place, only 1 point behind that. So your top three right there, and that's a little more of a significant gap back to fourth place with Ricky Russell. But those top three guys, they've got to think about that. Every point's going to count for them.
Yeah, and we keep talking about it. You know, we got 6 races, 6 different winners, but we got also, it's this battle of the sixes. 6 races, 6 different winners, and 6 points separating your top three. So, you know, any one of those three right now is really in a good position to try to capitalize on that and start to walk away with this championship. Interesting graphs put together here by our producer Adam Gordon, showing kind of the points as they have progressed. You can see each rider has their own colored lines. You can see the guys that have kind of been consistent. Ben Kelly probably leading the way with the consistency, you know, in terms of kind of always being up there on the top, staying with consistent finishes. Some of the other guys a little more meteoric, up, down, kind of all over the place.
Well, and you'll see that they'll even be building momentum, going up, 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 and then all of a sudden they have, whether it's a mechanical, whether it's a crash, some kind of issue, drop that momentum back down. So as you said, Johnny, 6 winners, 6 races. The question has been, when you're not one of those winners, how much have you been able to limit the damage and how many points have you been able to bring? A cool graph here for you guys to see exactly how the season has flowed for each one of our top riders there.
And I think the big question between the two of you guys, and let's just ask it early in the show, we got 6 races, 6 winners. Here we are at round 7. Who's going to double up first? Or is the unthinkable going to happen, and are we going to have a 7th different winner in 2023?
That's what I'm betting for, the unthinkable.
You're going for the 7th.
I hope so. I hope so. But I'll be happy to see somebody get 2 wins as well. I think that confidence could really help whoever that is.
So who are you calling for your new winner?
I want to go with Strang. But if there's going to be a 2-time winner, I'm going to have to put my money on Ben Kelly.
I'm telling you what, you couldn't have slapped the smile off my face when I saw Strang come around that first turn first. I know he's got good standing here, but I also know your reigning champion, Jordan Ashburn, is trying to make something happen after some bad luck last week, and I believe we were actually able to catch up with Jordan.
Yeah, for sure. We know what we need to do, and just going to pick up where we left off last race. And you know, we want to win. We want to be in the center of the box. And I feel like we could have been there last week, but you know, things happen, and we just got to pick up and go to the next one and try to do it again. Yeah, and also it's actually my first XC2 win. Okay. So yeah, so I've always liked this track, and it's always can be gnarly, and it has the pin section, and you know, if it rains at all, it's always really technical. So it's kind of my forte of a track, and that's what I look forward to. And I love when we kind of come up to the northern tracks because you get to more of that technical terrain. And yeah, I'm ready for it and excited about it.
Well, there you go. Jordan Ashburn excited about today, excited about that Penton section, excited about everything that is technical out there. And again, he was one of the guys that I mentioned that really has spent a lot of time honing his skills and kind of that hard enduro, very technical stuff. He's raced the TKO. I don't know how closely you guys follow, but a couple years ago when Jordan was riding for the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki team, actually did the TKO on a KDX 200, essentially a vintage 200cc two-stroke, which is kind of borderline between a trail bike and an early dual sport, and he went out there and gave it heck and made all the obstacles, and he was not even close to last. I mean, he was battling with some very accomplished riders on at best antiquated equipment. So definitely the guy has skills. He's got those long legs, and he knows how to put them to use. And we're looking here at the 7-mile marker, and we're told that the leaders should be on their way, cutting back here. This is where the track comes back in. We've got a long, oh, there we go. There is your Ricky Russell look like. Don't know if we missed our leader. There's Johnny Gerard. Look like
that was Ashburn.
Yep, and there is
Baylor.
Strang.
Oh no, that was Strang. Yes, and then DeLong. Yep.
So that is your leaders as they come by.
And that closed right back up.
Yeah,
they were spread out when we saw them.
But look at the gap here. So now we're starting to see those gaps, and it looks like it is Ben Kelly and then Grant Baylor. So those guys have dropped back just a little bit. Maybe some struggles for them in the Penton section. It's a little bit difficult to tell who that was. But so Ricky Russell, the 212 Ampro Yamaha out front, followed by last round's winner Johnny Gerard, then 969 Red Bull KTM, then Jordan Ashburn, then Josh Strang, and then Craig DeLong. And these guys are all basically wheel to wheel. I think we're going to see some Dyson and bar banging through this section of racetrack. A lot of passing opportunities on this side of the road, boys.
And it started just from the beginning. 4 wide coming there into the whole shot. Strang just sneaking up the inside. But yeah, clearly all of these racers really ready to go and ready to attack this John Penton course. And I'm telling you what, right now, I'm impressed to see DeLong. I'm almost positive that was him that went down right as they were going into the woods. So the fact that he was able to get back up and make that many moves quick shows the speed he's catching.
Well, again, and I do think we saw kind of a reserved pace through the first few miles of racing. We saw those guys kind of standing up, feet on the pegs, not pushing the issue. But now, by this point, they're 7 miles in, more than 7 actually. They're well into this racetrack. They've done the John Penton section. Here we see, looks like our XC2 riders coming through. That look like Philip
Riordan, I believe.
Oh, was it Riordan?
Yeah, I think that might have been Lafferty second.
Yeah. There's the Phoenix Honda boys.
I think Draper was in there as well.
There's Mike Witkowski, last round's winner. So these guys coming through now just behind our XC1 guys. But you know, now these guys know the grip. They know what they can push the pace, what they're capable of. And at this point, I think we're going to start to see those moves starting to happen here.
Yeah, we talked about how much the track has been changing. It seemed like today, especially, you saw those XC1, XC2 riders. They're bicycling a little later into that AM race. They're really wanting to get that last look at the track to see exactly how it's developing. I know I saw Rui Barbosa late in that AM race taking a pedal around, just trying to get one more glance at the track.
Well, let me clarify there. That was not one more glance. For most of these guys, this was their one glance. Because the conditions were so bad, nobody was able to get out there and bicycle. A lot of guys went out and tried to walk, but everybody that tried to bicycle had a conversation with Ricky Russell yesterday late in the evening. Stu Brayler this morning. Took them, I believe he said it was an hour and 40 minutes to go 1.2 miles, and eventually they said, forget this. They hike a bike through the woods, carried their e-bikes, got them back on the road, cleaned the mud out of the drivetrain and out of the wheels, and said, okay, let's try to get back to the pits. At this point, we're just going to have to abandon ship. Yeah. These guys now working their way back across. They're going to be coming back across the road to the what used to be the Sunday Creek motocross side of the park here, and drawing ever closer to the finish line. We actually will see them here in just about a minute. They'll be working their way through that GBC Tires pit stop area there, the pro pits, and little tight stuff thrown in here. You can see the track is really chewed up through there, so this is kind of the first we've seen of these guys getting a little muddy, doing a little spinning.
I noticed it seems like this course has a little more off-camber turns involved in it, and those, especially as we talk about the hard pack as well, has been really giving some people some issues throughout the day. Throttle control, back end stepping out on them. The off-cameras playing into this as well.
Yeah, when you look outside, Zach, you know, it's the rolling hills of Southern Ohio for a reason. I mean, there's not a whole lot of flat ground here except for what's been man-made. I mean, you see all the dirt that's been pushed around even coming into this year's, as these guys do. We're following here on the Yamaha Live drone, and they are coming into the pro pits for the first time. Ricky Russell still leading the way on that 212 Ampro Yamaha. Johnny Gerard in hot pursuit. Jordan Ashburn right there. Josh Strang giving up a little ground, and Craig DeLong also losing a bit of ground. Looks like now Ben Kelly has put on a push and has made it up to the back of the group there, and it looks like, did we just see a pass for second place?
Yeah, I believe that was Ashburn making the move there. Johnny Gerard stopped to get a little hydration, and Ashburn slid right up the right side of him. And we talked about having to slow down just a little bit to make sure you grab that hydration. Gerard really wanted to make sure he grabbed a hold of that water bottle, and he gave up the position doing so.
Guys, let me point out one thing here. Dust kicking up. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, not what we were expecting. If you guys saw the Racer TV broadcast yesterday, or especially if you were here in person, to say there was going to be dust by the end of the weekend, I think would catch anybody by surprise.
And guys, we saw Jordan Ashburn making that move right there. I really think that could be one that is in contention this weekend, especially after the last race, him having that mechanical failure. I know he's hungry to get after and show everybody what he's capable of.
You know, Jordan, it seems like oftentimes we hear calm, cool, collected, as we see, looks like Stu Baylor
coming into the pits. The dreaded front wheel kick. He found himself on the ground. Those bars are twisted. We've talked about that before. They'll stop, give it a kick, straighten out those bars. It's just so hard to ride a dirt bike when your front fender's pointing one direction and your handlebars are pointing another.
Yeah, absolutely, and it must have been a good kick there because it seemed like that was all they needed. He got back off and rolling, and so trying to do the most he could. But back to my point about Jordan Ashburn, it seems like we saw that emotion when he had the bad luck here just a couple of weeks ago. I think we've got an even more fired up reigning champ right now.
Yeah, I do too. I couldn't say that enough, really. He seemed very, very fired up when he was in the pits at that last race, so I'm sure he's ready to go this weekend.
Yeah, definitely fired up, and not much to say even, you might say, Jackson.
Yeah, you might say that.
He was definitely, understandably, visibly frustrated after last race, and as racy as he looks early in this one, which Jordan is known to push the pace early, so not a huge shocker, but we might see some big things out of the Magnum One Motorsports Husqvarna rider here today. Again, defending champion, 6 rounds in, still doesn't have a win. You know he wants to throw his hat in the ring and say, hey guys, it looks like now we're seeing some pressure on Josh Strang. He's got some pressure from behind. Looks like maybe Craig DeLong's starting to get a little push as he was getting pressure from behind from Ben Kelly. So things are heating up here early in this one. We haven't even completed a lap yet, and these guys are really starting to get rammy.
I tell you what, the last round's winner, Johnny Gerard, he seems to have something figured out with the starts. I know he's had decent starts the first few rounds, but especially these last 2 weeks, he's been up front battling for the lead right off the start, and you put yourself in that good position early. We saw what he was able to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely, and what a change from just a few months ago. I mean, we saw Johnny like a rocket at round 1, you know, out front leading, and then faded back to, you know, virtually outside. I think he ended up 18th or 19th overall, scoring just 1 or 2 points there at round 1. Jackson got the result in his hand. He can probably clarify
20th.
for it. 20th overall, 20th. So 1 point, you know, and he's very frustrated with that. Versus obviously 2 weeks ago, we saw the best of Johnny Gerard. I mean, coming through right there all day long and just able to seal the deal when it counted. And, you know, I think we're going to see a lot of newfound confidence in Johnny this weekend. And I think these are conditions that he rides well in as well. Ricky Russell still leading the way. It looks like Jordan Ashburn still there in second. Johnny Gerard in third. Whoa, Ben Kelly up to fourth. He's gotten around Josh Strang and gotten around Craig DeLong. So your mover and your shaker right now is the 530, your points leader, the Red Bull FMF KTM of Ben Kelly, guys.
Yeah, no, he's working his way towards the front. We saw him pushing the pace. And you had even noticed it looked like him and DeLong had kind of fallen off a little bit. They must have heard you talking about him because they picked it back up, and now Ben Kelly's on the move.
This is kind of what we expect from Ben Kelly. When you look at that graph of their points for the season, Ben was headed straight up the whole time, so very consistent for him all year long.
And Ben coming back from that leg injury. I know we haven't mentioned it as much here by now, but, you know, as far as the beginning of the year goes, that was the question. How was the leg going to hold up, especially throughout the entire race? But at this point, I heard Mikey even catch up with him. I think he's doing a little bit better and trying to focus on just racing at 100%, doing what he can do. And looks like what he can do is start making moves as he's now putting pressure on his teammate, Johnny G.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, we haven't talked as much about that. We haven't talked as much about that leg, but it's been, even early in the season, it's hard to talk about it because the guy's been the points leader for much of the season. You know, he's already won a race. He's been on the podium consistently. Last round, third in XC1, fifth overall. Those XC2 guys were really on it, obviously, Wachowski and Draper. But, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Same with Johnny Gerard. I mean, he won last race, but he was a guy that was having serious injuries and issues as a result of an off-season surgery that was unexpected just before round 1, and some infections and things that went along with that. So as they weave their way through the edge of pits here, they'll be coming through for the first full lap completion. They did bypass the finish line. Ricky Russell still leading the way. There he is on that 212 Ampro Yamaha. Jordan Ashburn there in second. Johnny Gerard with heavy pressure from his teammate Ben Kelly there in third. Josh Strang looking racy, still there in fifth, and Craig DeLong in sixth. Now Grant Baylor has bridged the gap and is up to, so it's just Stu that is kind of a little bit falling off the back here, but I think we'll see him charge up and start to put pressure on these guys soon.
I'm trying to see. I believe Ben Kelly might have actually made the move on his teammate. I think the 530 might be in the third place position now. We'll see.
Nope.
No, it is still Johnny.
Yep,
John Gerard.
Still Johnny, Ben there, then Josh, then Craig, and all those guys. I mean, you get to throw a blanket over all of them.
And more of that dust you were talking about as well.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Think about that section yesterday. I remember seeing you guys do the back and forth with the microphones trying to dodge the roost. You know, if you're over there today, you better go ahead and put those dust masks on, boys.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Even from this morning to see how much of a difference it is, just shows how many bikes are turning over and what they're doing on this course. But right now, that was Stu Baylor coming through. And now taking a look, there's both of your KTMs. There's Josh Strang, your whole shot. going up that FMF, looked like he was getting sideways.
You
there
want
for
to
a
talk
second.
about slick, boys. This is the slickest of the slick right here. Kind of hard to see on camera, but that is like ice going up there. A little bit better than yesterday, I'm sure, but man, that's always slick. And with the rain we had and it only being run for the afternoon races, you know, that's it's going to get better as the race goes, but right now those routes are like ice. Those guys are really struggling to get the grip there.
Me and Zach have been excited to see this all day. We know that in the woods it has to not be drying up quite as good. Is that Stu Baylor?
It is.
Looks like that was Stu coming through there. Yeah, Jackson, we were talking about it. Even so many people, we say, oh, it looks decent, it's starting to dry out, and they go, you guys haven't walked over into the woods.
Exactly.
We walked just a couple of feet into the woods, and it's so crazy how much shade there is. The mud being flung up onto the trees, kind of hanging over and making a canopy. So it goes from being really bright out in the Ohio sun to extremely dark and still extremely saturated as well.
Well, just this morning, me and Zach have saw people coming through. Look, their bikes look completely clean, and then we have somebody else's bike over here smoking, blowing up, and absolutely covered in mud with the radiators just packed full. So I think line choice is going to be very detrimental here.
Well, it is the glue that they put in the mud here at the Penton. It's not actual, but you know, we talk about it. This stuff, I mean, I've already been getting snaps from the ATV guys. Here comes your leader in that XC2 class. Looks like it is Liam Draper. Second place, one of the Phoenix Hondas. It was hard to tell which one it is. There, it looked like Riordan, a couple more Phoenix Hondas. I believe that one is Barbosa.
Yeah, so I think it was Barnes leading, and then I think that's Wachowski just at the top of the hill.
Oh, Wachowski actually right there behind Barbosa. So there's Evan Smith. So all the Phoenix Hondas up there in the top 6 or 7, but still Liam Draper, the 198 machine, out front leading the way. There's Zach Osborne. Haven't had an opportunity to talk about him too much. Mason Simmons there, another one of the Trail Jesters KTM team riders. So the majority of that XC2 class kind of running in formation. They're here at the completion of lap number 1 and beginning lap number 2. Just a few hundred yards into the next lap. And there is Jesse Ansley, rider out of Florida, privateer effort this year, formerly of that Trail Jesters KTM team, trying to get back to that status, putting in a good fight here today, and although not his ideal conditions, still out there getting it done.
That was a clean drive up the power point right there for sure, so definitely a good showing there, kind of riding up on the back wheel and able to manual up over some of those routes.
Could have been our XC3 leader potentially. Looked like it was a beta. Jay Lipscomb is a rider that, there you go, that was him. Jay Lipscomb in that XC3 class out front and all alone. Looks like now Dakota DeVore 37 seconds back. We should be seeing him on screen any moment here. Jason Lipscomb, a local here. He lives very close to this facility, rides these conditions quite often. That's Brody Johnson. That's another one of our XC2 riders working his way through now. We should be seeing the 526 of Dakota DeVore.
And can we just take a second and talk about these fans as well? Like we talk about, this is the worst, slickest spot, and look at how many people are out there.
Well, they want to see these guys fall down.
That's the one good thing about it. I was about to say it might be slick, but there looks like there's plenty of mud fleas to fly out there and grab a hold of them, so they should be in good shape.
Absolutely love to see
this. Will get spectacular when we start seeing the some of the B classes come through, and there is Zach Hayes, another XC3 rider, and that shows you just how slick it was, barely making it up that ledge. Our live scoring not yet showing him checked in. There you go. Zach Hayes, and then there is Toby Cleveland. Not so far able to quite get up front there. He had a great run to start the season with a bunch of wins, but they've been a little fewer and farther between the last couple of rounds. So a lot of guys showing the mix there in that XC3 class.
Yeah, Toby looked like he had the whole shot there, and then just a little hot on the throttle, spun out on that hard pack stuff. But good to see him back in the fight and headed towards the front. And talk about the difference here in this XC3 125 class. It's 2 strokes. I know it doesn't get talked a lot about. 4 strokes, kind of the mainstream vehicles and bikes that you see out there, but these 125s are running at higher RPMs, and oftentimes you're seeing them spinning out. A whole different riding style out there.
If you don't know what the FMF XC3 class is, just go to YouTube or anywhere on the interwebs and type in 2-smoke, 2-stroke, 125 RIPA, any of those things, and you will get some videos that will be entertaining. It is hard to beat the sound of a 125 2-stroke rung out on a motocross track. Well, imagine that, and then take it and put it in the trees. I mean, these things are like finely tuned musical instruments out there, just absolutely singing the song of the GNCC Mud Flea.
I love it. I absolutely. Only thing maybe better than the sound is the smell. I'm a premix guy. What can I say?
What brand? Maxima 927.
We ran 927 growing up, so I guess that's my accustomed smell.
Big Maxima guy.
Yeah,
so I'm on board. I'm on board. Looks like we've got some of our other A-Class riders coming through here now. Yeah, this FMF PowerPoint. We'll keep a camera on this when we can. I think we'll start to see some action once we get our B-Class coming through. You get a couple guys going up here. You get one guy gets a slight miscue. Next thing you know, they're locking bars, and it gets a lot harder to make it up there when you got a couple guys laying on the ground.
Yeah, I believe it was mile 5 at round 6 that we kept having the camera shot, and you could see, seems like those XC1 guys that just come right through it. As you get a little deeper in the field, you're like, oh, wait a second, that's extremely challenging. We even saw it reach up and grab a couple of our top runners before it was all said and done as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this FMF PowerPoint is absolutely one of those sections. They say the camera never does it justice, and it absolutely does not. I mean, that is almost impossible to walk up that hill. You're on your hands and knees kind of crawling and digging your way up that hill. So there is one of our Babbitt's Monster Energy Kawasaki. It was hard to tell if that may have been.
I think that was, I know JoJo Cunningham got the whole shot there, so he might be. There's DeFeo right there.
Yep, DeFeo. So there's a bunch. It looks like maybe Cooper Jones coming through. Not often that we get to see these guys on camera in the A classes, so we'll definitely cool to see. Give them a little bit of love when we can. These guys checking in. If you see your favorite rider there, here's your opportunity to kind of cheer them on live on Racer TV.
Yeah, I got a few open A's, 250A. That's Cole Whitmer, I do believe, going up the hill now on the gas machine.
And Johnny, you talk about some riders eventually going to get stuck. Is now, getting word we got a new leader.
Talk about getting racy and talk about wanting to make a statement. He may not have had much to say after that issue at the last round, but he's saying it all right now. Taking the lead, wrestling it away from the 212 of Ricky Russell. Now Ben Kelly now has made the pass over his teammate Johnny Gerard up into that third place spot, and you're seeing it as it's unfolding here at mile marker number 4. Ricky Russell in P2 right behind Jordan Ashburn. Ben Kelly giving chase. Behind him is still the 969 of Johnny Gerard, Josh Strang, and Craig DeLong, all still wheel to wheel. Grant Baylor has been able to kind of catch the train and grab a ride along. So minus Stu, it looks like he's still got a little bit of ground to make up after, but not much. There he is. So he can see those guys, and you can see he is not panicking, not really pushing the issue. He knows they're all right there, and at this point feeling comfortable that he's just going to kind of let the race come to him and work his way up back into that lead pack.
I'm telling you, Johnny, I know we've been pumping up the possibility of 7 for 7, but with Josh Strang grabbing the whole shot, I know he's not in the lead right now, but he's in that lead pack. And I've always just felt like if he could sink a line in and just tow with those guys towards the end of the race, he'd be there at the end. So I'm really excited to see what the 17 is able to do as this race develops.
Well, one more quick thing here as we see our leader on screen, and it is still the 198 of Liam Draper. And I don't think he wants anybody to catch on to his pace. The heartbreaker for him, just literally inches from the finish line 2 weeks ago at the Hoosier. He's wanting to get away, but these guys are still pushing the pace, and they are right there. That is the 99 of Cody Barnes. You guys were correct. So the Phoenix Hondas, man, it's hard to tell which one of those guys is going to be on fire. They're all so close, or at times all in the top 3. Right now it is Barnes, and then that was Riordan there in the third place spot, looking like
Ryder Lafferty.
Ryder Lafferty in 4th there on that Coastal Racing Gas, former points leader and race winner early in the season. Then it is Rui Barbosa and Mike Wachowski, and there's those other 2 Phoenix Hondas, man, right there. And then it's the factory betas of Jonathan Johnson and Evan Smith. So it seems like the teammates riding together.
Absolutely, and you go back to your leader, Liam Draper. We saw him yesterday walking through. I was like, you ready to do it? And he said, yeah, hopefully just this time not 400 feet short. So Liam Draper, he knows. He's like, I got to do it. I got to go it all the way to the finish, and he's putting himself in a good spot to do it right now. But Jordan Ashburn leads the way in the XC1. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back. This is the Wiseco Performance Products, John Penton, GNCC.
Canati Tires, a division of Greenball Corp, has been in the tire business for over 44 years. We're passionate about developing quality tires that perform great and bring extraordinary value to our customers. Whether you're looking for a tire that can handle your off-road adventures, need a reliable tire to take you from job site to job site, or simply want a tire with a beefier look that won't break the bank, then check out Canati Tires.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
ontrackschool.com. Check it out.
In the premier form of off-road motorcycle racing in the world, it's the beginning of a new era. 17 Supercross, 11 motocross, and those 3 playoff rounds.
Super Motocross World Championship Finals. Tickets on sale now. Visit supermotocross.com.
30-second card is up. We've talked all about it. We've watched practice and qualifying. We've theorized. We've bench raced. Now it is time to go. Race her up. Gates down. Side by side we go. Jet Lord, Justin Cooper in front of the crowd. Linger from Chase Sexton. Can anyone else get up in the mix? They have been 1-2 in the last 7 motos of this championship. Here we go.
Every race, every day, in every way. Print, social, digital, video, photo. Every race, every day. Every result, every story, every rider, everything. Moto every day with Racer X.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association has been setting a standard for motorcycle coaching since 2016. Coaching is important for all riders, no matter the age or skill level. The USMCA connects riders with coaches, whether the rider is just starting out on their motorcycling journey, to a competitive amateur racer looking to reach their next milestone, or the professional athlete trying to clinch a title. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app and get connected to a USMCA certified coach today.
Hey, my name's Caleb Wood. I'm from Donald, South Carolina. I race the YXC2. I ride for the Focus X Pro-Am team. Season's going pretty well. I think I'm leading the points in my class right now, so not too bad. My goals are definitely to get the YXC2 championship and hopefully get somewhere up there in the top 5 area in the overall.
Your overall winner, Caleb Wood. Give it up.
My cousin's Stuart Baylor. He always gives me a hard time.
My relationship with Caleb, well, we butt heads a lot. He's hard-headed as he can be. We try to work on pissing each other off enough to make each other go fast.
My training at Skills and Max with Stu and a lot of the other big pro guys have been working really hard down there, and I've made a ton of progression this year.
This season is kind of where he finally came into his own, and I think the mixing of just being at the facility live for so many years, it had to happen. Being a part of the Shoals and running it with the Woods throughout the week, you know, it's every time you see dirt bikes, it's a full family affair.
Pretty much all the generations of Stu's family have been racing.
My dad went pro locally. My grandpa was an A rider, and at that time in that era, A rider was the highest you could be in off-road.
They just pretty much got me into it at a young age, and I mean, it's just something that I grew up looking up to people doing.
It must be something in the genetics, and I was just born into a super gene of racing. He's kind of seeking the same way that we were, and it's pretty cool, and he's just adding to the family as far as our accomplishments. It's cool to watch him grow as a rider and a racer.
It's just really fun to be out there and doing what you love to do. Just follow your dreams. Don't listen to people that say you can't. That's the biggest thing that I've been working through. Just people saying I can't, and so now I'm living the dream.
If Stu was my age and we were racing, I think he'd just clean me out in any corner they could possibly clean me out in.
I would beat him every time. I was undefeated, and there's a reason I was undefeated. Me at his age, I think in the woods I would have him. On the motocross, he would have me for sure. His actual style, picturesque style, is better than mine for sure. I mean, it's something that it's what we've driven into him at the Shoals, and if he doesn't do it properly, we're gonna have to beat it out of him.
Your overall winner, Caleb Wood, and we're popping bottles.
Yeah, Caleb Wood, really a shining star, doing some more work out here, grabbing the win in that Super Mini Junior class earlier today. And Jackson, we were even talking about it. Me and you get to cover Caleb's races. We get to see just 2 weeks ago at round 6, grabbing the overall win from that Super Mini Junior class. Really someone to watch growing up, moving forward.
Yeah, he was up on the podium again today, winning that Super Mini Junior class. Once again, back up there with the YXC1 guys on the overall. So Caleb Wood, one to keep your eye out on, especially as he moves up into those big bikes here in a few years. But he's still in the Super Mini Junior class in getting overalls.
It's crazy if he's this fast right now. I can only imagine in a couple years, and it's so cool to watch the development of the racers. I know we weren't necessarily around, but I know Ben Kelly, another one that they said kind of grew up through it. Talking to Caleb Russell earlier today. This is KTM Youth Weekend. They were out there passing medals out. He's like, I remember when I was a little kid getting the medal passed to me. Now it's a full circle moment. I'm handing it to the next generation out here of GNCC.
And the next generation is doing good, as well as KTM. Man, they were giving out a lot of medals, a lot of their riders up on the podium. So KTM doing just what they wanted to when they come here this weekend.
Now looks like we're taking a look at our leaders. The last time we saw it was Jordan Ashburn, your reigning champ, taking over the lead. And we're getting word here. Okay, so it sounds like Jordan, not only has he gotten the lead, but he's put some distance between him and the rest of the field. And this is second, third, and fourth we're looking at on screen. Trying to get
looks like it might be Josh Strang there in second, and then it's either Kelly or Gerard in third and fourth, in whichever direction they may be. Yeah, it could be. It didn't look like Ricky Russell, but the sun was playing some tricks there. Kind of had that color that Strang had on, but that would be a big change from the last camera shot we saw. So anything could have happened. Keep in mind those guys just came through the Penton section, so things get wild out there. And looks like here is our next couple riders working their way through, or is...
So this is now I think this is the same group of riders there, and just coming out of that Penton section, and you talk about the technical side of it, not necessarily trying to slow down, but you've got to refocus, kind of adjust the way that you're riding. Now you said some of these riders train for it a little more than others. Is it got to do with just the location that they're riding at, or did they make an active effort to try to become an extreme rider, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just opportunities at times. If you know, a guy like Jordan Ashburn being from Tennessee, I mean, he has some places around him close that offer that type of terrain. Ricky Russell, obviously, yes. I mean, He's from, you know, the Northwest, and if you follow him on social media, he just shares stories and pictures of these epic rides they do up into the mountains, just so far out away from everything, and it becomes a challenge, like to find trails that they can't find the end of. So when you do that, you end up riding some pretty epic terrain. I don't think any of them have really ever consciously said, like, hey, I'm going to be a hard enduro guy, but some of them just like to practice on that kind of stuff, and it pays off on days like today and sections like this. You can see just how things are starting to bunch up. We got our leaders, and keep in mind, some of these other bikes that you're seeing, they're already into lappers, and that's just how gnarly this Penton section is. A lot of those guys we saw out in that open area were not a part of our XC1 leaders. You can see guys pulling over, letting other guys go by. So only on lap 2, they're already into lappers, and that shows you just how tough certain sections of this racetrack are.
Yeah, and we talk about the race line, but then if the lapper's trying to get out of the way, they get too far off, they're going to wind up in the thick stuff. So they're trying to save their race as well. It's already tight through the trails, but now they're just trying to keep it in that main race line so they don't get off in the slop.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is what's tough on a day like today. You know, under perfect conditions, the track is plenty wide. They can just kind of move to the side. But when you're working with these deep ruts, and as you mentioned, if you get out of that main race line, it's so sticky, so tacky, so thick. I mean, a lot of times the lappers don't necessarily want to give up that main line until there's somewhere for them to move over, and you really honestly can't blame them. You can see here, looks like we've got some of our riders that are about to go a lap down coming by. These guys are trucking along thinking they're setting the world on fire, and they're doing excellent, but just to be able to make it around this course, and they're already soon going to be hearing the revs behind them from some very, very fast GNCC XC1 guys that are going to want by. And again, this section, surely there's enough room to move over, but a lot of that Penton section, it truly is just one rut through the woods there.
Yeah, you talk about thinking you're setting the world on fire, and then all of a sudden, it's crazy. It always seems like that, right? In your helmet, you're going a million miles an hour. You've got everything just perfect, and then the leaders come around, and you're just like, wow, I'm not even in the same zip code. It's crazy to see the amount of skill that the 1% of the 1% are able to do at the front of the field.
Yeah, there was a good friend of GNCC Racing. He helped a number of riders and was actually the KTM truck driver for a time. Cookie, you might see some Ride for Cookies stickers over the years, passed away in 2007. In a road biking accident. He actually told us a wonderful story that same year. I was telling myself and Becca Sheets, he said, you know, I used to think I was really good on a dirt bike, and I don't remember all the ins and outs of it. I can't. But he was at a certain enduro racing, and Randy Hawkins, who is now the owner of the Pro Yamaha team, was a top factory either Suzuki or Yamaha rider at the time. Is somewhat irrelevant what he was riding, but he said, man, I was riding the best I'd ever ridden. He said, I absolutely knew that no one could possibly be going faster than me. He said, in the Javelin, that was Randy Hawkins' nickname, he said, the Javelin went by me. He said, there was a little bark off the tree. I heard a quick brip of a two-stroke. He said, I saw his side number panel, and he was gone. And he said, and in that moment, I realized I was never going to ride a dirt bike for a living. He said, all these years later, I'm still here and still enjoying it. So that really is what GNCC is all about. It shows you these guys are out here just as much fun, just as much passion for the sport as the guys that are maybe putting them a lap down. They just maybe not quite going the same speed.
And so cool to see that that older generation of riders now moving into new positions in the industry as well, and kind of training and grooming these these modern day riders, having some influence on the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the who's who of team managers, team owners in GNCC, I mean, you have Fred Andrews, team manager for that Monster Energy Babbitt's Kawasaki team, a former GNCC champion and race winner in his own right. Many years ago in the 1990s, was an absolute threat in GNCC every time he lined up. Randy Hawkins, one of his guys he battles against, runs that NFAB. Wow, that was a throwback. Pro Yamaha team, and he obviously, has multiple enduro titles. I forget how many. I think 6 or 7-time enduro champion. Just come down here to the KTM semi. They're doing some, as you mentioned, the youth thing this weekend. They've got some big things going on here this week as well, I believe, coming up. And Mike Lafferty, who is an 8-time national enduro champion and multi-time GNCC race winner. He's down there doing those things. Mark Hyde, 5-time Blackwater winner, here as a part of KTM. Yeah, I mean, the list just honestly goes on. Barry Hawk runs many would argue the greatest of all time in GNCC, on champion on both 2 and 4 wheels. The only guy ever to do that. Runs the Coastal Racing Gas team. So definitely a lot of pedigree here in the sport, and a lot of these guys have a lot of knowledge to pass on to the younger riders, which is kind of a throwback to what we saw there with Stu Baylor and his cousin, nephew. I don't know. I know there's a family tie there. I believe that would be his cousin, his little cousin, Caleb, coming up through the youth ranks, and Stu, obviously, the Baylor family knows a lot about GNCC racing. They've won a lot. Both brothers have won a race here in 2023 already.
Yeah, no, it's so cool to see. We talk about the family aspect. It looks like we got a rider popping out there.
Just got excited for a minute.
Yeah, thought it might have been.
Thought we were going to get to see some action.
Yeah, but not only the families just here at the track, but generationally. You know, you've got so many times, oh, my dad races. Oh, now I'm a dad. My son races. Oh. Once again. We saw the green front fender.
Yep.
We weren't sure.
Got excited. No, yeah, I mean, and there is, you mentioned guys like Caleb Russell, who came up through the ranks, obviously has family ties not only to the sport but the organization here in GNCC. Charlie Mullins here it is, leader on screen. Jordan Ashburn has opened up a gap, we are told, at the 7-mile marker. We'll see what that gap is as he comes through. 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 2 seconds when we saw him come through. And man, he's going to be upwards of a 10-second gap already here. He's starting to open this one up, and yeah, it looks like it's about 12 seconds over now.
And that's a KTM in second
Looked
there.
like it might have been Gerard, actually. It was hard to tell if it was Gerard or Kelly, but that is Josh Strang, who is now up in the mix there. So we've lost one of the 2 KTMs. Could have been him going by there. It was hard to tell with the pan.
That was DeLong, the second rider.
DeLong through there. So either Gerard or Kelly has dropped off a little bit, even if it is just a few seconds. We'll wait and we'll watch here. Now we see the 212 of Ricky Russell, so a big move back for him. Looks like, was that Liam Draper?
That was Draper there, yeah.
Oh, my, guys. And there is the other FMF Red Bull KTM. So a back, but look at this. Liam Draper may very possibly be, again, your overall leader.
Tell me that man's not motivated after last race. That was one of the most heartbreaking highlights I think I've ever seen in GNCC. There's been some worse scenarios or better scenarios, depending on which side of the coin you're on in that, but good battle right here.
Yeah, this is the battle for second, and we are apologizing. We cannot tell which of the FMF Red Bull KTM guys this is here in second. The other one back in about 6th or 7th place, but it is either the 530 of Ben Kelly or Johnny Gerard, the front bike you see in this shot. The next bike back, Josh Strang, 2-time winner, or the last 2-time winner of this John Penton GNCC, looking to try to back it up and make it 3 in a row here today. Currently running in that 3rd place spot and putting heavy pressure on the FMF Red Bull KTM in front of him, whichever one of those riders it may be. That's actually a lapped rider. He's working his way by, so he did lose a little bit of ground through there. We saw him kind of fumbling through that rut. Again, lappers are going to become an issue and a obstacle for these guys here very quickly.
And Johnny, early in the race when we saw the riders bunched up, you said you thought somebody could try to break away, but it would be a risky move. Now we see Jordan Ashburn trying to do just that. Do you think his timing's right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to say with lappers the way it is, and without being able to actually get out there and have eyes on that Penton section. I think that, he made his move in kind of the unassuming part of the racetrack. Man, that is hard to tell. If I had to go by style, I would say Johnny Gerard, but it is hard to tell. Sitting down entering a corner has to be Johnny, cannot be Ben Kelly. That is definitely Johnny Gerard. So Johnny Gerard there in the number 2 spot. Josh Strang there in 3rd. Again, just out in front of these guys, about 12 seconds, is Ben Kelly. And
is that Grant Baylor?
They're in 4th. It is Grant Baylor. So we missed him there in that shot. We must have been panning, and he is putting pressure. So, man, the Grizzly being this close to the front this early, this is dangerous. We talked about this when he won Camp Coker. Man, if he can see these guys, and even 2 hours in, let alone an hour in, that he's known for his charges late in the race.
Yeah, you see, Grant, he says it himself all the time. If I could just get a good start, which is something we hear from a lot of riders, but for Grant, it echoes truth because he's the diesel. Takes him a minute to get warmed up, but once he does, he's rolling. So you're right, Johnny, with him in the fight this early.
Takes him a minute to get warmed up, and I am curious if that may be his brother Stu behind him there. We missed a couple riders when we panned through that shot, but so that is Johnny Gerard there in 2nd. There is Josh Strang in 3rd. That's a lapped rider ahead of them. Just behind them, we believe, is the 314. It is of Grant Baylor, and that is the 514 of Stu Baylor. So there you have it. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all in the same camera shot as they're coming through, and these guys are on the charge trying to close that gap to Jordan Ashburn, who's trying to stretch this one out. So there is your top 5 as they run on screen. But, folks, let's not forget the 198 of Liam Draper lurking back there. And I believe much less than a minute, I think we are going to see an overall leader from that XC2 class, and it is going to be Liam Draper. But we've still got about a mile and a half of racetrack until we can sort that all out.
Taking a look at your leader there, that was Jordan Ashburn coming through the pit area. Now going back to the Yamaha live drone, really getting a good look. So that is Johnny Girard there in the second place spot on the KTM. Okay, now look, boy, Cowie's going in.
Almost looked like they were each surprised. They kind of a last-minute dart into the pits there. So Strang will, let's see if Stu pitted back there. Kind of hard to see. He's out of camera shot. Stu and Grant kind of right flying, or sorry, Grant and Josh Strang, they're flying in formation. Looks like Stu... There's Ben Kelly, so it looks like Stu did pit, or didn't pit, so he made the pass on those guys. There is Ben Kelly. There is, wow, so Liam Draper pits, and now it's Cody Barnes taking the lead in the XC2 class. So, or no, that's actually Ricky Russell, and there is Liam Draper. So Barnes has made the pass on Liam Draper and Ricky Russell, falling back a little bit further in that XC1 class. What do you guys think? There's a minute. There's Ben Kelly getting a splash of fuel and getting out just ahead of Draper. Is Draper and Barnes, are they close enough to have that lead on corrected time, Zach? It's going to be close.
What I'm curious is what the gap was from Draper back to Barnes. We saw in that one camera shot a few minutes ago how close Draper was. If he did pit, or if he went down or something, I'm just curious how much time he lost, because that'll ultimately decide it. But I don't know, Barnes is moving.
He was definitely by himself in that previous camera shot. So the question is, does Barnes pick up the pace and catch him, or did Draper drop back to him? And that may be the difference of whether or not those guys are physically or corrected time-wise able to put themselves up into podium positions. Now we see looks to be Riordan there on that Trail Jesters KTM working his way by, and then that is a lapped rider there, and that is what you call an EMTB.
And we talk about often as we see Riordan there going, taking a quick pit stop. Goggles, what we talk about so much with mud, but you saw Riordan, he had a little rag hanging off the back of his pants there. Grip, another big issue that these riders have to face, especially with this half dry, half wet conditions where it really sticks onto the grips.
Yeah, we can see he's got a damaged brake pedal. They were doing a little tweaking, try to bend that out and make sure that he has proper rear brake usage. Great use of the GBC Tires pit stop area, coming in, getting a little adjustment to the rear brake pedal, and that can be so frustrating. Things like that, even though it's there, you know, if you're just not able to get that tip easily with your boot, you're trying to apply the brakes and you're missing, or you're kind of heavy footing it. Next thing you know, you lose your rear brakes because you're too hard on them. So a smart move to come in there and make that adjustment even while running inside the top three in that XC2 Pro Lights class.
Now looking at the front of the field. Sorry, Mike, we did get confirmed that Stu did not pit, though. That's what I was going to say, absolutely. So it looks like an alternate pit strategy there for Stu as we're glancing at our top three, ducking in and out of the woods there.
Yeah, and I don't believe Stu pitted on lap one either. We did see him stop, but that was not actually in his own pit. He stopped, and they gave the kick of the front wheel to adjust, so it's possible. But if he didn't pit on lap one, that's going to be a three-lap strategy, meaning, I mean, he's going to be every bit of 1 hour, 40 minutes. I mean, that's pushing it for Stu Baylor on fuel. He typically uses a lot of fuel.
Yeah, no, Stu definitely known for being hard on the gas, and so he had Grant right in front of him. I don't believe Grant did stop.
Grant did, as did Josh Strang. Yeah.
And so in that type of situation, you had both riders come in. My mind immediately goes back to round 3 in the mud when we saw Johnny Girard come sliding into the back of Ben Kelly in the KTM pit. What do you think that was planned as far as both riders coming in at the same time?
Well, it may have been planned by the team, but it at least Grant appeared to be kind of caught off guard. And unless, you know, sometimes it doesn't matter if they say, hey, we're going to pit on lap 2. He may have just forgotten. I mean, you're out there, you're in the heat of the moment. You're like, hey, man, I'm trying to stay ahead of my brother. I'm trying to pass the guy in front of me. And next thing you know, you see like, hey, that's my teammate over there pitting. Oh, well, I was supposed to pit, you know, and that's kind of what it looked like. He was kind of a hard 90-degree right into his pits, didn't fade over, just kind of jerked in there, but got in and out, no issues. The Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki team doing a great job of getting him through there.
Those boxes are checked. They got it done, and they're off and rolling once again. So now taking a look at the Monster Energy Monster Mile, waiting to see. And Jordan looked good. He looked really good up front, and he looked good 2 weeks ago as well.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, obviously the results not showing that, but that's something worth noting. We talk about Jordan Ashburn's come to life. He may have been to life 2 weeks ago as well, and we're just seeing it again.
You know, it's funny. We had Stu Baylor on the Inside Line podcast. There is Jordan Ashburn. He is. We'll see what that gap is. Well, we'll know for sure. It's not much. That's how much it is. Again, Jordan likely did pit, and if he did, then that explains where that quick gain of time came from. That was Gerard in third, Strang in fourth. There is Grant Baylor in fifth. It is now Craig DeLong in sixth, and that is your top 6 as they run. Now they're coming into scoring. Jordan Ashburn coming at you, Stu Baylor going away. There's the difference. First place, Jordan Ashburn. Second, Stu Baylor. And the race is on. Similar to what we saw, we were just talking about it 2 weeks ago. These guys hooked up, started to pull away from everyone else. We did have Stu Baylor on the inside line on Friday. Came and we were talking a little bit about that race, and he said, I got to be honest with you. The way Jordan was riding, the pace he was pushing, I could not have run that pace all the way to the finish. He said, had Jordan not have had that bike issue, obviously that's a lot of ifs, whats, and maybes.
Oh, sure.
But he said he did not feel that he could have run the pace that Jordan at least appeared to be comfortable running all the way to the finish.
And that might have been part of Jordan's frustration at the end of the race. You know, we always talk about Jordan Ashburn being the cool, calm, collected Mr. Consistency. After that race, we saw on Racer TV, visibly frustrated, talked to him about it prior to the race today, and clearly they put that in the past, but he's riding like a man who feels like one got away from him.
Yeah, you know, and we talked about that even with Bryson Neal on the ATV side. Like, do you ride like you have something to prove? Riding like he has something to prove right now is the 530 of Ben Kelly. So whatever transpired out there that dropped him back, he is on a mission and on a charge, trying to get back in touch with that lead group. And look at this, folks. Mikey Waynes, you spotted it, so you call it.
What a wild. What year is this? This is a crazy season. How about it? Cody Barnes leading this one. Liam Draper in the number 2 spot on adjusted time. And it's not because it was they got up into the rear end of the XC1 guys on lap 1. This is lap 2, Johnny Gallagher.
Yep. And they've right now the lead that they have, 12 seconds, Cody Barnes has over Jordan Ashburn on corrected time. So it's not like they're squeaking this one out. If you look at the lap times, 34:58 for Cody Barnes, 35:04 for Liam Draper, 35:49 for Jordan Ashburn, and he was the fastest guy in XC1. So that right there is the absolute tail of the tape. I mean, almost, what do we got, 34:58 to 35:49, 49 seconds, 47 seconds faster. I mean, that is huge. Those guys are absolutely on a mission. They were not even close to the overall positions on lap 1, and now both Cody Barnes and Liam Draper 1 and 2 in the overall.
So that's where it's standing right now. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back. This is the Wiseco Performance Products, John Penton, GNCC.
All-new Yamaha YZ450F. Narrower, more compact, and lighter. Built to do one thing: go faster. Flexible financing options offered directly through Yamaha are available. See your local Yamaha dealer today.
I'm here with legendary Barry Hawk. The reason we're talking with Barry, it should be obvious to many of you, but if you did not know, Barry Hawk has been nominated for the AMA Hall of Fame. Barry, we know why you've been nominated. The only guy in GNCC history to have an overall championship on the ATV side and an overall championship on the bike side. That's really just the tip of the iceberg, Barry. Tell us a little bit about the nomination. I mean, what goes through your head when something like that comes about?
Well, my first thought is it's really cool. I never expected it. I never set out to be like, man, I want to be a Hall of Famer. I just wanted to be the fastest guy racing the GNCC, and here it is 30 whatever years later, and yeah, I'm nominated. It's really cool. The other thought, this is, I guess, aging myself, but the other thought is to be nominated for the Hall of Fame. Of course, I guess you got to have a lot of credibility, have a lot of good results. But the other thing is, you're probably pretty old.
Maybe.
So that's the other thing. I mean, I know it's kind of a weird thing, but that's honestly a thought that goes through my head. But I mean, all in all, yeah, to be nominated, it's really cool. We'll see how things turn out, but it's been a fun ride up to this point.
Your resume itself is the stamp of approval, I think, that you need to be in the Hall of Fame. But, hey, the politics of it is this. You have to be a lifetime member of the AMA to vote. So if you are a lifetime member of the AMA, do the GNCC Racing Nation a favor. Vote for this man, Barry Hawk. I'll do the politicking for you. You did it while you were sitting on the ATV and sitting on the bike. What are some of the highlights in your mind of your racing career?
So I have 7 championships on the ATV, and then that 93, that year, it kind of went into I started riding a dirt bike just to kind of cross-train for the ATV, and I kept progressing on the bike side to where I got to a point where I said, hey, I want to pursue this dirt bike thing, try and win some races on that. Nobody really gave me, I mean, I was like a 6 through 12 place guy on the bike.
They were sleeping on you.
Yeah.
They were sleeping on you.
I dedicated myself. I parked the ATV, retired that side of it, and went dirt bike racing. And it took me a few years of just being a dirt bike guy till I got my first win. And when I got that first win, that's one of my highlights, is because it was actually the next race at Mason-Dixon that was my first win, which was back in 2001. It was the first time we raced there, and it was one of those deals where I had a good start, and I was up front all day, and I didn't lead from start to finish, but I led from the first lap to the end. And when I crossed the finish line, I got my first bike win, and I was so happy because finally I did it. I won on the bike. But on the other hand, I'm like, I'm such an idiot. Like, what I did at that race.
Chase this championship.
Well, not only that, but I was thinking, why did it take me a couple years to figure out on the bike what I knew so well on the ATV? Well, I got that win, celebrated. That was great. Didn't have a good second half of that 2001. It took me almost about a year and a half to win another dirt bike race. And then 2003, we go to Florida, in my opinion, the worst GNCC ever at Palatka. And I didn't get a good start there, and I tell people this day, I was not the fastest rider that day, but I was the smartest rider, and I got to the finish line and won that one and ended up winning the championship that year. So, that's one of the highlights. If I just take a couple other highlights on the bike, was probably the year my son was born, 2005. Wife had some complications, and I didn't even ride for a little over a week. I spent, I was worried about it. I had a 5-year-old daughter at the time, and the wife and the newborn son at home, and taking care of them, plus my daughter, and, it was just racing was the furthest thing from my mind. Well, everything started going good, like on Friday before the WISP, and then Saturday I told my wife, I'm like, hey, what do you think about me going to race? And she was like, yeah, go do it. I know you want to do it. And anyhow, I went there Saturday. Sunday, my wife, son, and my daughter ended up showing up. I didn't think they would, but she showed up, and I ended up winning the race. And
oh my goodness!
And what else is crazy about that race is about a quarter mile from the finish, I'm coming down the hill on a ski slope and cut on the inside, and everybody was kind of drifting out. I cut inside, and a deer jumped out, and I hit a deer. I hit a deer. So I ended up winning the race, but that day, there was so many emotions going through my mind. I wasn't even sure if I was going to race, and then I was leading, then I win, got a newborn, there to celebrate with my daughter and my wife. But yeah, that was another crazy highlight of my career.
I love that. Obviously, you even after retirement from a pro rider standpoint, you're here. We fast forward 30 years. We're at the racetrack right now, and Barry Hawk, you're still here. You are the team manager for the Coastal Racing Factory Gas team. So you never stopped. Racing is in your blood. Tell us about that role.
Yeah, so this opportunity came up in 2016, and we were actually a support team for Husqvarna, and luckily had a lot of people in my corner, and I was the team manager for that team for the Coastal Husqvarna team for several years. And then whenever KTM acquired Gas, it was a perfect opportunity for us to be the factory gas team. And we had all the infrastructure there. Everything was lined up, and this is my third year being the factory gas, but my 8th year being the team manager of this team. So it's very rewarding when the guys do good, but it's also frustrating when things aren't going good.
That's true.
And I can't get out there and ride the bikes for the guys, but I still like being part of it. And I can't do it anymore, but if I can help them, whether it's my support guys or my factory guys, if I can help them achieve their goal of winning races and championships, then that's it's satisfying for me. So here it is 30 years later. I'm still involved with the sport. I love it. And, I've done several other things in my life, but, I'll always be around this thing, for this GNCC for sure. I was talking to my son a few weeks ago, and then I started writing down something, and it's guys that I've raced against through the years. And I've raced a long time.
Oh, yeah.
On the ATV side, dirt bike side, I qualified for ATV Motocross Nationals. I qualified for High Point Outdoor Motocross National a few times, and I've raced it 6 days, and I've raced Enduro Cross, and I've done a lot of racing and raced a lot of people. And when you sit back, like I started writing some of the names down of the people that I raced, I was actually it was pretty neat for me to look back.
Pretty good.
Well, I'm not saying I'm good, but I'm saying like the guys that I raced, everyone from, I raced Pastrana before, I raced Ricky Carmichael, the bigger names.
Yeah.
Outside of GNCC, Pastrana and Carmichael, and I never raced James Stewart, but the list goes on and on. I raced Ricky Johnson even.
Yep.
I've raced Ricky Johnson, and then you get into the GNCC names. Any of the guys that's raced in the past. The guys now, I've raced Thad Duvall. He's on my team. He's one of my guys, all the way back to Scott Summers on the XR 600 days. I've raced everybody on the ATV side. You got Bob Sloan, Chris Borich, Walker Fowler. I've raced all these guys. So,
and you know what? I guarantee you, every single guy that Barry Hawk just mentioned right there has said at one time or another, I raced against Barry Hawk. So you throw your name in that same conversation.
I guess I'll do that,
right.
But I hate to talk about myself.
I get it. So that's why I'm going to do the politicking for Barry. Again, if you are a lifetime member of the AMA, vote for Barry Hawk. It's that simple. We're going to post a bunch of information about it, how you can do that, but we want to see one of our own, and I can't think of a more deserving rider, manager, and father, husband. The categories are long.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And it's anybody who wants to take their time. I know actually, I've done it. I voted for myself. Of course you got to do it, but I was expecting it to be a lot more painful. But it honestly wasn't. It was a really easy process to go and do it.
There you go. Barry Hawk, future Hall of Famer. Maybe very near future.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's a guy that has the resume to be in consideration, and anyone that has the knowledge of GNCC or even off-road racing understands that this is a guy that, a journeyman privateer in the beginning all the way up to the highest of the highs as a factory racer. And, look at this. On screen, Jordan Ashburn, but with heavy pressure behind from the 514 of Stu Baylor. And those two starting to look like maybe they are marching away a bit from the guys behind them. That gap has definitely opened up. When we saw them last, they were basically still just, a few bike lengths behind, but now it is the 969 of Johnny Gerard sitting there in that third place spot. These guys coming out into the open. Stu Baylor really starting to look racy, putting a lot of pressure on the back wheel of Jordan Ashburn. So not wanting to let him go, and Jordan Ashburn probably saying something along the lines of, oh darn, I gave it a go and it just didn't pan out. He tried to get away, was actually able to break all of the guys behind him, but Stu Baylor skipped his pit and went straight to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn with a big push there at the end of lap number 2. And now here we are about midway through lap number 3. These guys in that Penton section, and Stu Baylor is able to match Jordan Ashburn move for move.
Ashburn in this situation, unless he's gotten a pit board that's told him, he doesn't know that Stu Baylor did not pit. Stu, keep it on 2 wheels there.
He did, yeah. I was thinking the same thing you were. We saw that back end step out.
So he doesn't know that Stu Baylor, unless a pit board has told him, hey, we don't know he pit. So Ashburn right now, who do you want to be in this scenario, Johnny, between Ashburn and Stu? You know, if you're Stu, you got to come in pit. Are you demoralized a little bit if you don't get around Ashburn before you get to the pits?
I think it's almost immaterial whether you get around him or not, unless you're able to get around and pull a gap. You know, whether you're directly in front of him or directly behind him, the time is what you need. You know, Stu, if he wants to still keep himself in that battle for the lead and not have to play catch-up again, he needs to not only get around Jordan, but he needs to put probably 9 or 10 seconds on him so that he can come to a stop, make that pit, knowing Jordan's already pitted. So, yeah, I'd rather be Jordan Ashburn in this scenario, based purely on their positioning. Stu Baylor is behind and able to kind of benefit from the lines that Jordan Ashburn is picking, so he's saving some energy there. Looks like now, did possibly Strang get around Johnny Gerard? Looks to be that way. I think Josh Strang has gotten around Johnny Gerard and taken away that number 3 spot. And is that still... Looks to be a lapped rider there. Don't think that was Grant. There is Grant Baylor. You can recognize that style. So Grant Baylor there in... So that was 3 and 4 and 5. And now it looks like the 99 of Cody Barnes is all the way up
question mark
to the rear wheel, it looks like, and that may be Liam Draper. Wow. These guys, the XC2 guys are, I'm telling you, I think that was the 99 of Cody Barnes. I think he is physically all the way up to the rear wheel of Grant Baylor, which means, wow, what a charge he has put on.
Cody's another guy in that XC2 class that he desperately wants a win. I think you were the one, Johnny, early this season when Rui clicked off a couple. Yep. Cody was kind of like, and then he's like, okay, let me celebrate for my teammate, but I want a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
He's probably the other guy on that list. We were talking Wachowski and Draper, the guys that need a win or something positive. I think Cody Barnes is in that category as well.
Well, and you take a look at the entire Phoenix Honda racing team, whether it's Rui Barbosa, Mike Wachowski, or Cody Barnes, they've all had their share of success. And, going back to that one race, Rui and Cody all the way down the line. I was standing next to David Eller, and he's like, I just hope they don't take each other out, please.
But that was the race I was talking about. The story I heard, I was not there for it, was that when they came across the line, Cody was, visibly upset. And he was kind of disgruntled a little bit, and Rui was obviously over the moon, and he turned and he put his arm on Cody and said, Cody, you have won one of these. I have not. Let me enjoy this. Cody looked at him, respectful teammate, great guy, and said, you know what, you're absolutely right. Congratulations. Not that there was any beef between them, but Cody was just kind of, the negativity of being so close and having it ripped away, and then Rui saying, like, hey, yes, I took your win away, but I'm also your teammate, so be happy for me. And at this point now, Cody, the only one left on the team without a win this year, his teammate Mike Wachowski. So right now, he's doing everything he needs to do to put himself in the position to be talking about, hey, we're 7 rounds in. We've had 3 Phoenix Honda winners, which is very possible today if Cody Barnes can get this done.
And not only is he leading the way in his class, he's at the top of the board right now.
Hey, what better way to kind of not only bring yourself on the same level as your teammates that have already won, but take, hey, that's awesome that you guys, and hey, Mike, you won up Rui and you put it on the podium. You got that, P3 overall. Hey, by the way, I just want to know, that's what Cody would love to say at the end of the day. Here
anything you can do, I can do better.
That's right.
Even Brock Glover said, if there's one person you want to one up, it's your teammate. It's your teammate.
Yeah. It speaks volumes about that Phoenix Honda team. I mean, those guys are, to have 3 guys capable of putting themselves in position to win races in a field this competitive. I mean, those guys are obviously putting in the work over there.
Yeah, great job there. Looking at some more of our riders on screen here. Getting some great looks in these open sections from the Yamaha live drone, really showing the way that the gaps are changing. It seems like sometimes we see them, they're wheel to wheel, and the next time we see them, they've got several seconds between all of them.
Yeah, it's a lot of gaps open up over here in the Penton section. You know, it's hard when you have as much diversity in the terrain as we see today. I mean, there's so much grip in some of these sections, and these guys absolutely slipping and sliding their way through others. I just wish there was a way we could get down into that Penton section and show some of the absolute treachery that these guys are having to likely, you know, push and prod their machines through that John Penton section with those slick rocks, that single line, those ruts, and man, so much diversity in the terrain here. These guys are just pushing, prodding, and working their way through these sections, and it's leading to kind of what you talked about there was those gaps kind of coming and going. We see guys wheel to wheel in one section, and just a few moments later, we see them, you know, stretched out. We see 10, 12, 15-second gaps in between.
Yeah, been fun. Remember the mulch pile? I forgot about you when you were talking Penton section. I was thinking mulch pile back in the days.
Yeah, the mulch pile was wild, man. That was actually brought in to help facilitate keeping some moisture in the Sunday Creek motocross track. They were going to mix it in with the dirt. Then it kind of started to break down, and it just became this iconic feature of this John Penton and Baroque GNCC because it would get so rough. It was like how crazy how the rough and deep that would get. You would just get these huge moguls, riders ultimately flying over the handlebars and just crazy stuff through that section. We'd always see a lot of wild passes through there.
Not to mention constantly changing as well.
Each lap, you would. I can tell you as a racer, you would come charging in there, and it was just one of those pucker moments, I guess, if you will. Because you know, especially if you're in a battle, you couldn't let off coming in there. It was just a super high speed straightaway coming in. You'd carry all that speed. You'd kind of jump in there blindly and think, okay, I'm assuming this is going to be way worse than it was last lap, and you just kind of lean back and let it eat, man. You just try to let your suspension do work and bounce you through there, and it was wild. It was, and you could. The crazy thing was, it seems like there's always a lot of heat here, both for the Penton and the Baroques, and you could just see the steam coming up out of the mulch. Made for some great camera shots for sure.
Yes. And everybody who's went through that section just cringed a little bit, as Johnny described it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, you're like, rough racetrack, but at least we get this nice section of field. Oh, wait, halfway through the field section, they're going to throw this 10-second long mulch pile at us. And, yeah, similar feature over there at Fast Tracks Raceway, not too far from here. They run at each of their GPs. So if you want to experience it, we do not run it here at the GNCC anymore. But, yeah, Fast Tracks go right down the road. You can check it out at any GP. And we are waiting here at the 7-mile marker. These guys have now exited the Penton section. They're working their way through some slightly less treacherous section of trail. And, yeah, not a lot of lappers seeming to really come into the mix so far. I think things are getting kind of strung out here. Maybe a few people said, you know what, with the conditions today, I think we're just going to leave it on the trailer and watch this one. But the morning race, no shortage of riders. Just as we say, down at the FMF PowerPoint, we talked about how difficult this section would get once you started adding into the mix the number of lapped riders and other riders, and now it's just starting to get chewed out in this FMF PowerPoint, getting slicker and slicker and tougher.
It seems like these are some of the conditions where your taller riders may benefit. You see the old leg paddle in there climbing up the hill. We've seen that several times throughout the day as one rider carrying the momentum up there. But, yeah, I was just about to say that, not quite seeing the issues.
Just not quite seeing the issues.
There it was.
We get the loop out
there. It was.
Yeah, and another thing, too, to keep in mind, like these guys, as they're kind of coming to a stop, spinning that rear wheel, they're creating holes, and there's really only one rut up this FMF PowerPoint right now, so it's going to make it more challenging. Do I anticipate seeing a bottleneck of XC1 guys? No, but each lap it's getting a little bit more difficult, and the timing of things, if they catch a lapper at just the wrong part of the track, and this is one little segment of the track that we get to see. Yes, this is the FMF PowerPoint, and it's named that for a reason, because you need all the power, all the drive, all the grip to get up this thing, but there are similar sections out in the woods, and this is a lot of, again, likely why we're seeing those big kind of ebb and flow of the gaps. We're seeing them open up, we're seeing them close down, and a lot of racing action on screen today, and we're loving to see it.
Well, and it seems like a lot of those riders, when they do get stuck, you've got the decision, you know, do I try to keep pushing up the hill, or do I bite the bullet and ride back down and try again?
Man, sometimes it's a pride thing. You'll sit there and just burn those rear tires off and, you know, push and prod and yell for the mud fleas to come help you, because you do not want to do a 180, drop your head, admit defeat, and especially in a situation like this,
you know, there is an alternate line around, and then you see the halfway up line there to the left, where you go up and you make a left. You don't have to go up those steep routes. Just to the left of that red arrow you're seeing on screen there. This rider opting to go right up the middle. This rider going to follow him, but you can see there's where it gets challenging. You got those routes. You know, at that point you got to kind of make the decision: am I going to head back down and face the hair of the crowd, or you know, are you going to continue to give it the hero's effort and run it right up the right up the middle? That was rowdy.
That was commitment.
I'm pretty
right
sure
there.
he wheel tapped off that guy's leg there on the left.
That was gnarly. This is love it. Mudfleas, they're at home right now. We got Snowshoe coming up. Not next round, the one after. So Mudfleas at home. If you're watching, start taking notes. It's almost time for you guys to go to work and irritate Johnny on Saturday.
Oh boy, we're going to have a stack up here.
Yep, it's coming. Maybe.
Yeah. They still got one. See, that's
oh,
it. There's still one more tier of the hill after that. Now all these guys are stuck on this next level down, and they've got. There we go. We got one up. We got one kind of. He's going around now. He's taking the out around line, and there's one that looked like he might have worked his way down. We saw this yesterday on Racer TV. We had the guys coming back down off to the right side of our camera here shot and taking another run at it because they didn't quite get enough of a run the first time.
Everybody hanging up. Oh, nope. There's the.
Yep, still
riding back down.
Still trying to get up there. Even with the added run, wasn't able to make it. He's going to give it another go. And now he's going to opt for the option line. So there's an option halfway up line, and then there's an easy way around, which is where he's at right now. That is way left of our camera shot, but that is the all the way out and around line that is much easier, much flatter. You don't have to go up the wall, but you do have to go completely around the hill and then come up the other side. So it is a long way around. It's probably a good 5 to 7 to maybe 10 seconds if you go all the way out and around versus the main line up the FMF PowerPoint. Looks like we've got some riders
lead duo
through.
right there.
There they are. It is Jordan Ashburn. Look at those guys just kind of standing on the peg, saving energy, and maybe they've kind of each been throwing blows, and now they're at the point where they need to catch their breath, and we'll see what that has resulted to in the gap when they came through there. 1:38.18 kind of as they were going through, so they're 10 seconds now. The gap widening. We saw Jordan Ashburn early in this race had about a 12-second gap, and Stu Baylor was able to run him down, but right now these guys have opened it up. It's upwards of 20 seconds as we see them now out in the open section on the other side of the road. Still the big number one of Jordan Ashburn looking to try to grab his first win of 2023, but Stu Baylor saying, nope, I want to double up. I want to be the first guy to grab 2 wins. We're 6 in. We got 6 different winners. I would like to be the first guy to lay claim to 2 wins here in 2023.
Obviously a big storyline this year, though. 6 winners, 6 different rounds. I got to think, Johnny, being round 7, we're over the hump. It's a 12-round season this year. The first guy to get the second win, this is pivotal. An extremely pivotal race here today. If you can be that first guy, whether it's any of the 6, talk about the momentum you carry.
Did you see that? They were side by side right there.
The momentum you would carry being the first guy with 2.
Yeah, and Mike, we've been talking about this since round 3.
Yeah.
You know, we saw, obviously, Stu Baylor grab a win. Then we saw Ben Kelly, and we were kind of saying, like, hey, these are kind of 2 of the guys we thought would be championship contenders. Whoever can double up first is going to really grab the momentum. We go to round 3. Greg DeLong grabs the win. We go to round 4. Mickey Russell grabs the win. And it's just like the list just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's like, wow, like, when is this going to stop? And who is going to be able to double up? But absolutely, I stand firm on the same thing I said after round 2, which is the first guy to double up makes a big statement. Oh, look at this.
Oh, there we go.
Stu Baylor getting a drive, but Jordan Ashburn able to shut him down, take away that inside line. Stu is definitely wanting the lead, though, and he's wanting to grab it away from Jordan Ashburn, trying to go around the outside. He's got to drive, and this time he's got it. Stu Baylor to the front, the 514 machine taking the lead, but Ashburn not letting around on the inside. Look at this. He's going to have to chop the throttle here.
I'm telling you what, though, look at the fight out of the number 1, Jordan Ashburn. Just as much as you were saying, Stu wanted the lead in that moment. Ashburn not wanting to give it up.
You can see Ashburn having to concede there, and now they've got a lapper to contend with, so that's going to make things even more interesting. The lapper moving out of the way, letting the lead duo by. We are just a few corners from seeing these guys pass the
the pit area, and we are going to likely need to see Stu Baylor come in and get a splash of fuel. Our cameras are showing that he has not yet pitted, meaning that he does need to stop for fuel. He's opened up a little bit of a gap now. Ashburn's struggling on that off-camber. Only a few bike lengths, but it will not be enough unless he's able to really stretch it out in these next 3 corners. Jordan Ashburn will retake the lead when Stu Baylor comes in and pits here in that GBC Tires pit stop area. Yamaha Live Drone bringing you this action, showing you the pass for the lead. Normally wouldn't get to see that. So great addition to our coverage here on Racer TV. And wow, those guys were both really wanting the lead, you could tell.
Yes, Stu Holland, the male.
And now we're getting a look. There they are in the pits. So it looks like Stu's crew getting ready.
Yep. Well, just 2 more turns here, and we will be seeing him turn into that Rocky Mountain ATV MC Teely Energy KTM team, and they will do their best to get him in and out of there. Perhaps a fresh set of goggles, maybe a drink. But look at this, almost collecting a left rider in the process. And there goes Jordan Ashburn by for the lead, looking like fuel and some fresh goggles. And Jordan Ashburn going to open this one up a little bit. We'll likely see him take a look to his right here and see just what the gap is to this man, the 514 of Stu Baylor. Able to get out, still holding on to that number 2 spot. We'll wait and see what the gap is back to our 3rd place. Well, Jordan Ashburn able to get a splash, so maybe thinking now that it is a 5-lap race, Jordan Ashburn now able to go the distance, should not need to pit again. So Stu Baylor, kind of the loser in that exchange. Ashburn just a quick splash, and now he knows he's got enough to go to the finish and able to regain the lead.
And that's a smart strategy there for the Magna 1 team. I'm not sure if that was a call made beforehand or whether it was just a spur of the moment when they heard it was going to be a 5-lapper. But now we kind of go mano a mano all the way down to the finish and see who's able to bring it. What I'm curious about, we heard the comments Stu said about the pace that Jordan Ashburn was able to put on. Clearly, I think they both are probably aware now, hey, we've got the fuel, now we just got to go all the way to the finish. So we'll see whether that pace picks up like you thought it might.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And these guys back wheel to wheel. This is just great racing right here. So the exchange to see who could have the lead going to the pit. Stu pitting. We did not expect to see Jordan pit. Then he comes in and they leave almost, it was just flip-flopped of the way they were coming into the pits. So a great exchange there. But yeah, I mean, Jordan has a lot to prove, but Stu really seems to be on a mission and not to let the cat out of the bag. But again, we did have him on the Inside Line podcast on Friday, and he alluded to the fact that he may be foregoing the rest of the National Enduro Series, just leaving it behind, abandoning it, and saying, hey, GNCC is way more important to me. I'm not in the title fight for any PG, and GNCC is just my goal right now. I've won a lot of Enduro titles. I've never won a GNCC title. I want to put that in my trophy case. The National Enduros just are not important to me right now. As a team owner and also team manager, I need to focus where I think I need to be, and I think I need to be competitive GNCCs right now.
It's kind of the one thing for Stu, as far as his pro career goes, it has eluded him to this point. I mean, it's the one thing that, he's a huge fan. He got a huge fan base. People want to see it. They expect to see it, and he's just fallen short the last few years. So, yeah, I like the focus.
Well, there's not much more of a way to, kind of remove that box that needs checked and just go out and start winning races. And right now, I mean, it's hard not to build hype when you're looking at what we're looking at on screen. We've got a guy who's our defending champion. He won the 2022 GNCC title. We're 7 rounds. We're in round 7. 6 rounds complete. Does not yet have a win. Has had some real heartbreakers. Had a mechanical-ish issue at round number 4 in Georgia. Sorry, round number 3 in Georgia. Was up battling in a podium position, near a podium position, and on the last lap dropped back quite a bit, losing some valuable points. And then obviously at our mutter in Georgia, we were told potentially had lost a drain plug, and as such, obviously his machine ran out of oil and came to a stop. So some issues kind of out of his control have led to him losing a lot of points. Maybe he's not at the moment at least a factor for the 2023 title, but to win a race shows, hey man, this title wasn't a fluke. I'm the guy. For sure. I'm going to be here the rest of the year. Again, we just talked about Stu. Really this being one of the last boxes to check for him in his career. the GNCC title, and no better way to do that than to get max points. 30 points on the day for a win, folks.
It's interesting. Everything it takes, everything that goes into winning a national championship at that pro level. And I think if you ask anybody, Caleb Russell, Walker Fowler, Ben Kelly, they'll all tell you the same thing. It takes a lot of skill, it takes dedication, it takes a good training regimen, and just sprinkle in a little bit of luck. Because if you have that mechanical, if you have that off race, something happens, it does take a little bit of luck out there. Not a lot of it.
No,
but
absolutely.
A little bit.
Yeah, and I think there's two types of luck in this world. There's the luck you make, and there's the luck that just kind of comes your way. And I have a saying: luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Yeah. If you've been prepared, you've put in the work. You're not just you personally, but your program, the people around you. You have a good bike, you have good equipment, you have a good team. Your fitness is there, your nutrition is there. Everything about you is ready to roll, and you get the break, you get the opportunity you needed. There we go. Stu Baylor, we were told, has made the pass. The 514 machine out front. Stu Baylor leading the way. Jordan Ashburn running around the outside, almost running a wheel back in on Stu Baylor. So Ashburn not willing to lay down and concede this lead. Look at this. Looks like he's got to drive up the inside. And is he going to try to run it in on Stu? This is kind of where it files back into one line. So I don't think we'll see a pass through here. But, man, these guys each just really wanting that point position right now.
Man, the fight is on for sure as Baylor's able to make the pass right as they come across the finish line. 2-lap card is out.
5-lap race here at the John Penton GNCC, and these guys are throwing down. This is a title fight, folks. Maybe not for the GNCC title, but these are prize fighters, and the title of baddest dude in Ohio on a dirt bike on May 21st of 2023 is up for grabs, and these guys are throwing punches.
Yeah, they are going for it right now. Both of them kind of with something to prove. Jordan trying to respond to that bad luck. Stu always seems to carry just a little chip on his shoulder, like you guys said. I think he's got a big picture in mind. And here we are at the FMF PowerPoint. Both of those riders. It's so crazy to see that compared to the last time we checked in at the FMF PowerPoint.
Yeah, it was wild, man. They each kind of, I wouldn't say struggled, but were very cautious with their line choice up there. Kind of, instead of the direct up the left of the roots there, they can see it starting to go away. They kind of did a little zigzag, found a little better traction, and clawed their way up the FMF PowerPoint. Now, we will wait and see as we reload our scoring software and look. We do have the third rider checked in. Johnny Gerard there in the third place spot. Josh Strang in fourth, and those are the only 4 checked in. 33 seconds back to Johnny Gerard in that third place position in that XC1 class, and overall, at least as they run right now, Josh Strang another 22 seconds back. So the pace that Stu Baylor and Jordan Ashburn are setting up front right now, Johnny Gerard, Josh Strang, and the rest cannot match. Cody Barnes could be the spoiler. We'll be waiting and watching. He should be checking in any moment here. Looks like Liam Draper is checked in third place overall in that XC2 lead, with Cody Barnes just behind him 8 seconds. And there they are on screen. There is Liam Draper kind of wheeling up the left side there, wild, and there is the 99 of Cody Barnes on that Phoenix Racing Honda again. Did you see him scrub that like it was a Supercross triple? He is on a mission. He does not want to let Liam Draper get away. So up into a podium position, Liam Draper in third, Cody Barnes in fourth, bumping Johnny Gerard back to 5th place in that overall. Now we see there is the 530 of Ben Kelly. So those guys have physically gotten around Ben Kelly. Look at that.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And you look at the top 2 in that XC2. Cody was trying to hang on to the back of Draper because Draper was locked into a freight train of XC1 riders. Grant Baylor just in front of Craig DeLong, and then looked like possibly Russell in there as well.
Ricky Russell, the 212. Our early leader is back. He is back into overall wise. He is sitting in that 10th place spot overall. The last rider having checked in with 3 laps complete. So running down the top 10 as they run. Stu Baylor leading the way. Jordan Ashburn second. Liam Draper third. Cody Barnes in fourth. Again, those 2 riders, 3rd and 4th overall, but 1st and 2nd in that XC2 Pro Lights class. Then Johnny Gerard 5th overall, Josh Strang 6th, Grant Baylor 7th, Craig DeLong 8th, Benjamin Kelly in 9th, and Ricky Russell rounds out the top 10 here at the Weisco John Penton GNCC. We'll be back with more action, folks, here on Racer TV after this.
Yamaha YZ450F. Narrower, more compact, and lighter. Built to do one thing: go faster. Flexible financing options offered directly through Yamaha are available. See your local Yamaha dealer today.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won the championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida, where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees, and you're doing 230s, and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall, I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
GNCC Racing is brought to you by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. And welcome back, GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Watching the John Penton GNCC. Hey, Zach, you were here for this, man.
Man,
I'll let you talk us through it.
I'm telling you what, we're talking about the Friday Night Fan Fest, and we had it all, including the legend, Rodney Tomlin out there. They had a clinic on riders. They had a clinic on announcers, so we were all hanging out, learning how it's done. And look at that. Look at the top level of riders that you saw. Where else can you find that much GNCC talent side by side besides the starting line?
Yeah, really cool. Strang there, Johnny Gerard, Ryder Lafferty.
Yeah, look, me and Jackson over there. You want to know what me and Jackson were talking about? We got who's going to walk up first and ask for an autograph? Thankfully, after they left some posters behind, so we were able to fanboy out a little bit. But
there you
see,
go.
I mean, making the kids' days. Rachel Archer getting out there, handing some stuff out as well. She had some real cool Rachel Archer stickers made.
Nice.
And so, yeah, really cool stuff. They're able to chit-chat it up with your favorite riders. Oftentimes at the track, they got so many things going on. It's race day. This is a real cool opportunity for you to talk with some of your favorite riders there. Jordan Ashburn, Josh Strang chatting it up with Johnny Gerard, and that young man right there, I think he had said he just got a bike, so he was chatting it up, trying to figure out how he could become a future GNCC champion. Great stuff going on there.
Hey, he's talking to the right guys.
Oh, yeah. No, this is where you want to figure it out. They got the right stuff. Even, like I said, learning some lessons here from the man himself, chatting it up with Rodney Tomlin, trying to pump it up on the radio waves, getting everybody excited to come out for GNCC racing. And so cool to be back here in Ohio. And that's the Friday Night Fan Fest. This is the Saturday Night Showdown. I'm talking Stasic Racing.
This is the most serious race of the weekend right here, folks.
Yeah, no, it's all smiles. There might be some pigtails involved, but it is.
We see the Mohawks today, but we don't see any pigtails out there, but we did last night.
She was handling business, too, out there getting it done, as we see the number 70 grabbing the whole shot there. We see vision options available there, some going with the goggles. Hand guards also, just in case you clip the trampoline. And so,
and you talk about the legacy of GNCC racing. We just saw Josh Strang's little boy there. There we see Thad Duvall's little boy. These are legacy riders in their own right for sure. Their dads have done a little bit of work here in GNCC, and now they're getting their feet wet at the very, very lowest lower. And look at that! I was just gonna say, is he gonna run into him? And that looks like
Chad Duvall.
It was Chad Duvall. So there you go. You want to talk about where things started from. Craig DeLong down there taking in the action. Got a little mud on him from trying to get the track pedaled. And there is Josh Strang's little boy, looking like Maverick, I believe. He's taking it all in. He's got so many medals around his neck, doesn't know what to do with them all. Jacoby Duvall coming across the line. Got some competition there. Little lady next to him. And so we got maybe potentially a future WXC champion and future XC1 champion there, just out there getting it done in that Stasic race.
So much fun out there, not only for the racers and the parents, but it's fun for the fans as well. They got quite the turnout for that. As now we get back to the two-wheeled action. That's the Stasic. That's the XC1 of tomorrow.
Listen, I got to tell you guys, on Saturdays, probably the most common question when we have inclement weather that I receive is the Stasic race happening? And if so, where is it? Like, we need to get over there. Meow. We did just see, look like Zach Osborne checking through there in our XC2 Pro Lights class. Not in the top 20 at the moment, but not top 20 overall, but he did. That was him. He checked in there with a lap time of 39.36. So leaders running around 34-minute lap time, little off that lap for Zach, maybe finding himself plugged into a nice rut or a hole out there. You see Ricky Russell with that 2-lap card in hand, and I'm sure a lot of these riders very much welcoming that they only have 2 more laps to make it around this track, because it is a challenging circuit here, and it's taking everything that these guys have to make their way around.
Never ceases to amaze me what a difference 24 hours can make. If you were here Friday, you're probably thinking, we're going to be a good race weekend. Saturday morning, if you've never been to a GNCC and you said, hey, by Sunday afternoon, we're kicking dust up, they'd go, no, you're insane. No, we do it all the time, and here it is right here.
Yeah, I was that person that was like, what?
There's no way.
I am over my ankles in slop right now. Yeah. There is no chance. And sure enough, here I am, eating my words.
It's incredible. And I hats off to the track crew, Ricky Towery, Kirk Sessions down there, and the staff down there wiping off helmets. Zach, you have the front row seat for it now.
I'm telling you what, I want to give a big shout out to my boy Wyatt there. He's standing there wiping helmets today. A whole lot more fun. Yesterday was his first day on the job, guys. Ooh. First day wiping helmets, and to say this man was covered head to toe, that's an understatement. He was a full mud monster out there.
I mean, you guys put lead in the mud here in Ohio. I mean, it just doesn't. It's glue. Okay, yeah, that explains it.
It sticks. Hey guys, real quick here, let me give you an update on this FMF XC3 class. Our top 2 riders have checked in now with 3 laps complete. Dakota DeVore putting on an absolute clinic. He has a 3-minute and 55-second lead over Jason Lipscomb, who was your early leader in that class. 3rd place not checked in, but last lap around it was the Zach Hayes from Sumter, South Carolina, the former champion in that class, who was running in that 3rd place spot, followed by Toby Cleveland back there in 4th. Those guys were about 18 seconds aback of Jason Lipscomb. It looks like that gap has grown. Now it is Toby Cleveland having checked in 1 minute 13 seconds behind Jay Lipscomb. So that is your top 3 as they run in that FMF XC3. We talked about it a little bit earlier, Zach. That is a great class to watch. The sights, the sounds, the smells of those 2-stroke machines and those guys ringing them out. But right now, the guy doing it best, Dakota DeVore out of Urechville, Ohio, leading the way with a 3-minute and 55-second lead. He says he likes the mud. He says he likes the tough races. Jason Lipscomb, known as a mud rider. Yeah, that's true. Right now, man, Dakota DeVore just absolutely putting it on these guys.
Yeah, just like the XC3 class fires on all senses, everything, sight, smell, sound. Dakota firing on all cylinders, because right now he's getting the job done. That's not just a little bit of a lead. That's some serious business out there. And so a great job there in that XC3 FMF 125 class. Taking a look at our riders on screen.
That is Stu Baylor. They're the first rider. Hard to see if that is Jordan Ashburn on the number 1. It looks to be it is. So those two still glued to each other. Baylor leading the way. Ashburn matching his every move. And but you can see a kind of sense of urgency when Stu gets a lap around lapped rider. It looks like Jordan is not willing to wait. He knows that, especially in this section of racetrack, track position is so important. He wants to make sure he's right there behind Stu, able to follow his lines and follow his lead.
Well, we talk about often coming up to the lap traffic, your lead rider, kind of the bulldozer, if you will. These lap riders, they're in the middle of a race as well, and so if there's one person that will get your attention behind you, it's Stu Baylor. And so Jordan Aspirant says, hey, they create a little hole. I'm gonna run through it like a running back and just take that while I can.
Yeah, this battle has just been insane to watch. It's not normal that we see as much aggression, that it lasts as long as it has. I mean, these guys are on full race pace, absolutely charging right now. We saw Stu run it up the side of Jordan in a two-track trail where there was barely any room. We saw Stu kind of knife it in on the inside. Jordan cross back over, make a run up the inside on him. So each of these guys absolutely wanting to lead, and it does not appear that they're just getting the lead and setting a pace. They're trying to run away, but right now Jordan Aspirant not letting Stu Baylor let that happen. He's matching Stu move for move.
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
Doing a good job trying to keep up on the rear wheel, and I think Ashburn looks like, to me, he feels like one got away from him last round. I'm not letting Stu Baylor out of my sights. I want to pull a Mike Wachowski on him. I hate to bring up last race. Sorry, Liam, you're my buddy, but I mean, if he's there, right place, right time, like you were saying, if we come into a lapper, he's got to be there in the fight in the end. And you're right, Johnny. They are racing like it is white flag lap out there right now.
Yeah, we're seeing some of our other riders inside the top 3 and 5 overall working their way through. Look like Cody Barnes did just go by there. Hard to see who the rest of these guys are. Look like Josh Strang may have gone by. And I did see a KTM, presumably Johnny Girard, working his way through as well. Kind of hard to tell from that angle there. Great shot from the Yamaha Live drone. Sometimes a little more challenging to pick out riders. Look like it might be another KTM rider there as well. Potentially the 530 of Ben Kelly. So we'll see. We'll wait and we'll watch. We know we will pick these guys up on one of our static cameras out there at the 7-mile marker and really get a good shot of who's who and what's what and how this is shaping up. One thing we know for sure, it is a gap back from your 1 and 2 positions, which is Stu Baylor leading the way and Jordan Ashburn in second.
And you talk about our previous round. This is pretty much picking up right where they left off. Like, it was kind of, if you could have paused the race 2 weeks ago right before the mechanical issues for Jordan and then resumed 2 weeks later today, we're in the same spot.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question is, can Johnny Girard jump up from that 3rd, 4th, 5th place spot and capitalize like he was able to last round? I don't think the conditions are lending themselves as much to that as they were just 2 weeks ago. It looks like, do we have it? No, those are not our leaders. If it was, I was going to say, I think they might have flipped positions. But, yeah, I mean, the conditions, we did see, Stu Baylor getting stuck there just shy of the finish line, opening up the door. Johnny Girard kind of charging through it and taking off and saying, nope, this is my win. I'm taking this with me. And his first XC1 win. Again, we've talked about it. We're going to beat the dead horse. 6 races, 6 different winners. Here we are in round 7. And one of the 2 guys up front with a very, very, very realistic shot at this win right now would make for 7 different winners in 2023. Here's a wild stat. 8 XC1 riders lined up.
All right.
And if Jordan Ashburn can get this done, that would mean that there have now been 7 of those guys grabbing a win, leaving only Josh Strang. Yeah, and he's still not out of this one yet today. No. He is about, when we last saw him, let's see, 33.22 is about 55 seconds out of the overall lead, give or take. So that was at the completion of lap number 3. We now know that they are deep into lap number 4. We don't know how those gaps may have materialized, but yeah, not out of this one by a long shot. But right now, of the 2 guys only 2 guys in XC1 lined up currently racing that don't have a win, right now Jordan Ashburn in the driver's seat, or as close as you can be. He's in very close passenger seat with his hand on the steering wheel, looking to grab that win. Stu Baylor leading the way right now.
To put that in perspective, if you're new to GNCC and you're saying, well, yeah, 6 winners, 6 different rounds, that's pretty impressive. Correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, but in GNCC history, I believe the most winners we've had in a 13-round season is 6, and we already have that through 6 rounds of racing.
I don't know that stat, but I believe it.
Right.
I could absolutely believe that. I can't imagine it would be more. I mean, it's very common in GNCC at the overall and the XC1 level to see one rider win 10-plus races and maybe one other rider win 1 or 2 or 2. I mean, if you would typically say, okay, how many GNCC's guys win in a season. When you have somebody as dominant as Caleb Russell, Walker Fowler, going back, to Barry Hawk on ATVs, Bill Balance, Juha Salminen, David Knight, these guys would win 10+ races in a year. There's only 13 races this year, 12, so max you're going to have 3 winners. And that would be a good guess. How many guys are going to win races this year? I would have guessed 3. We're 6 rounds in, and we've got 6. And we've got the potential today to make that 7. It's just absolutely insane. It's a level I truly could say I've never seen before.
Yeah, super exciting stuff going on here in the XC1 class. Really speaks to the depth that we have there on that first starting row, and we'll see. It's a big storyline either way. It's either the first to do it twice or the 7th to be at the top step of the podium.
There's 3 guys on screen going very fast. Not sure who they are, but it looks like it possibly might be Liam Draper, who was your XC2 leader when they checked in at the completion of lap number 3, and a couple other riders mixed in there. At least one of those would have to be an XC1 rider, so many XCs, XC1 rider, because we know that one could be Cody Barnes. We'll see when they pop out here if we can identify these riders, but whoever these 3 are, they are on the charge, on the throttle, and making it look good here for the Yamaha Live Drone.
Getting a nice shot of that green foliage there. We talked about in the beginning of the year, we were spoiled. We were looking through the trees, and now we're getting into blooming season.
Ohio looks a lot prettier than it is to live in, I'll tell you that. I've only been back for 5 days, and I'm already trying to head back down to North Carolina where it doesn't rain every 7 minutes. But it's beautiful today, and look at this. This is the FMF PowerPoint, guys. We've seen some carnage here already. Looks like it is continuing. Most of our XC1 and XC2 riders kind of trucking right up, but you can see a lot of the A and B class riders having some struggles, especially when you get a few of them at a time. We saw what happened there. One guy slows down, the next guy has to check up, and if he's at the wrong point of the hill and can't get his momentum going again, he's just digging that rear wheel in or sliding out altogether.
This has been very similar to what we've seen vehicles trying to exit the property yesterday. The momentum is crucial, guys. You got to just go for it.
Oh, I was listening to we talk about the FMF XC3 class being the sweet sound of our people. Well, I was listening to the sweet sound of dead dinosaurs being burned by diesel trucks last night. Just absolutely foot on the floor, hammer down pedal, the skinny pedal pushed straight through the floor, guys trying to pull their big trailers out of this thick Ohio mud that we've talked about so much. And man, that is apparently the song of whatever county we're in. I don't know what county this is, but I know the nearest town, we're in Millfield. The Athens County, we're our resident expert and GNCC historian, Rodney Tomlin, in the booth with us, says this is Athens County. Well, Athens County loves them some diesel trucks, and those guys were letting them eat last night. They were so many stuck vehicles, and the hats off to the Racer Productions crew, all of the operators and equipment and trucks and bulldozers and tractors, pulling everyone out and getting everyone on their way headed home safe, all those ATV riders. Things dried up quite a bit today. I think most people will be able to drive out.
Yeah, big shout out to the track workers throughout the day, earlier today as well. I mean, chaos to say the least, pandemonium. Some of those 65s, I think, had so much dirt caked in the front wheels they almost couldn't even roll. So they spent a lot of time out there really trying to make sure everybody was safe.
Speaking of chaos and pandemonium, we have riders coming down the FMF PowerPoint. You talked about it, Zach. When you get so far, sometimes you got to abort the mission and just get another run at it. Bob, is he going to head? He might take the out around line. He's regrouped.
He's going to take.
He's going to think about it.
It's saying a quick prayer right there. That's what he's doing.
Okay, all right. The diesel guy did it like this. He just pinned it at the bottom of the hill.
This is a tough section. Again, we talk about it so many times, how the top riders just make everything look so easy. I can assure you 99.73% of the population could not ride a dirt bike up this hill, given the fact that you would say, hey, there's $1 million at the top of this hill. All you got to do is get it up there without any help, and it wouldn't happen. So this is the best of the best, and they make it look easy.
Yeah, impressive stuff for sure as we sit here and continue to watch some of the other riders throughout the field there make their way up the FMF PowerPoint. And I mean, honestly, pretty impressive to see how many of them are taking that main line. We've seen a couple, especially if they get caught up in the early stages of the hill, kind of bear off to that left-hand side, but majority of them going for it all the way.
Yeah, and Zach, that's an interesting point to talk about, and an opportunity to talk about the fact that we talk about the A and B riders, the lappers. These are the best riders from each of their regions. They are the best riders, in their area, in their local series. They're likely battling not only for class wins, but potentially even overall wins. But here, when the best of the best of the best from all around the world. And truly, I mean, look at the rider sign-up sheet. We have riders here from New Zealand, from Australia, from Chile.
Yeah.
We have riders from all over, and a lot of these guys that have now U.S. addresses are not originally from here. These are some of the best off-road riders in the world, especially, and in this format, the absolute best there is to offer. So it kind of, I guess, grades on a curve, I guess a bit, if you will.
Yeah, that is a very good point. You see a guy struggling here at the FMF PowerPoint on Racer TV on a Sunday afternoon. Just know that he is ripping at his local. Guaranteed.
Speaking of ripping, there is our leader, Stu Baylor, and did we see Jordan Ashburn? I did not. I looked away for just a split second, and look at this. Stu Baylor has gotten away, folks. He's got a gap. For the first time of the day, Stu Baylor is not only leading, but he has got a pretty nice little gap over Jordan Ashburn, maybe 8, 9, 10 seconds or so. So Jordan Ashburn no longer able to key off of Stu Baylor, and Stu still just standing up, cruising through that section, looking like he is just on another level right now. Don't know if he knows he has that gap, but if he didn't before, he's going to know now, because they're out into the opposite side of the road. This is all open, and he'll be able to know there's not a bike. He does not hear that Husky 450, that Magna 1 Motorsports Husky of Jordan Ashburn behind him.
Talking to some of the pit crew there for the rider we saw earlier in the program, Caleb Wood, they said, hey, this is very similar to what we ride out at the Shoals. Stu is a big ruts guy. He loves doing the ruts training, and he's a big on-bike training guy. So I think Stu feeling very comfortable, and we're seeing it as he's pulling this gap out front right now. Yamaha live drone, watching him duck in and out there, and that was a pretty significant, like you said, close to probably about 10 seconds. Jordan, last we had seen, I would say inside of a second or so, so not sure what happened there, whether he's just ticking away inch by inch or maybe even a mistake by Ashburn.
I would almost venture to guess that something had to have happened there, either with a mistake by Ashburn or a lapped rider kind of getting in the mix there, because that's a pretty big gap to open up in that section. Again, they did still have some Penton section left when we saw them last on camera, so again, could just be something as simple as Jordan picking a bad line, maybe having a little tip over. Not a huge gap, but it's enough right now. We've talked about it so many times before, that draft, that mental draft. When you're just behind somebody chasing them on their rear wheel, you're able to just kind of turn your brain off and do what they do. Right now, Jordan Ashburn can't do that, and Stu Baylor is in full moto pace out here in the wide open sections of this Weisco John Penton racetrack. Not even taking a look over his shoulder. He's saying, I want to open this up. I need to get out of here, and he wants to. Mikey, what's he want to do?
Run away and hide.
No, check out the later
film. Check out the later
man,
film.
that was the opportunity.
I got too many.
I gave him the handoff.
I got too many.
Didn't even pick up the ball and run with it. But running right now is exactly what Stu Baylor is doing. He's trying to open up this gap. We're going to see when he comes through a white flag waving, meaning only one more lap around this place, and Stu Baylor could potentially grab the win here, making him the first rider to double up in 2023.
Man, I can't wait to hear that interview if he's able to do it too. I know he's going to be pumped up about it. And really right now, kind of looking like he's on his P's and Q's. Like you said, Johnny, standing up on the pegs, really making sure not pushing too hard. He's hard on the throttle, but not too hard, not letting the back end step out or anything like that. See him getting a little sideways there.
A few little dabs right through there.
And you see
that section, that's one of those deals where the drone is not doing it justice. That is completely off camera, very tight, and those ruts are deep. I mean, that is a very technical section of racetrack.
And you could even see that lap rider might have been in the main line or something like that. Stu looked like he kind of checked up and adjusted. And so sometimes that's all it can take even to throw things off for your leader. But right now, no issues for the 514. Stu Baylor trying to make it happen. I love how they weave in and out of the parking areas. Everybody able to get an awesome look, step out the back of the trailer, and boom, there's the XC1 class.
Okay, folks, here he comes on our Yamaha Live drone. Stu Baylor coming through. Should not need anything from his pits this lap. He does take a little water bottle handoff there, but should not be an actual stop in the pits. And there is that It is. Jordan Ashburn just behind him. So the gap has closed up a little bit. Despite the fact that Stu Baylor is charging, Jordan Ashburn actually able to make up some ground there, and he's getting a little closer to the rear wheel of the Teely Energy Rocky Mountain ATV MC KTM of Stu Baylor. When they go opposite ways around this repeater banner here that splits, he is going to see Jordan Ashburn coming the other direction, and Jordan Ashburn is going to see Stu Baylor riding away. Each of them knows what they have to do here with just barely over a lap of action left.
Yeah, both of them taking a glance over, and it'll be interesting to see if they finish as they run at the moment. That'll have the points at Stu with 153 points leading the way, Craig DeLong sitting in second with 147, and then Ben Kelly dropping down to third with 141, still keeping it within that 6-point range.
There you go. 6 points between your second and third place rider would be still a serious close battle between those guys. And man, it's like it seems like no matter what these guys do, they just can't get away from each other this year.
It's crazy when you put it in perspective. All the different winners. I mean, we're likely going to be in a scenario where we go into summer break after snowshoe, and we still have no clear decision. Normally, by that point, the story's almost written. You kind of know how it's going to end. But this year, I don't think we're going to have that. I'm not going to call it a luxury because this is amazing, but certainly a unique season to say the least.
And just when we thought the XC1 couldn't get any more exciting, we start having the XC2s battling for the overall as well. We just throw that in the mix.
And snowshoe will get real wild.
Look at this. Josh Strang up to the third place in that overall there and pushing the pace, but he has got heat from behind from the 969 of Johnny Gerard and also the 342 of Craig DeLong. So that is 3, 4, and 5 in that XC1 class. Now, we did know last lap those guys were all three were displaced by 2 XC2 riders, but man, this battle on screen, these guys are pushing the pace and pushing it hard.
Yeah, without a doubt, clearly, and as close as those guys were.
Cody Barnes, there is your X.
Barnes, yep.
Did we miss Draper going the other way?
I don't believe I saw.
There's
That's
Grant
Baylor
Baylor
behind.
So that is your 6th place in XC1.
Ah, man, I don't think we saw Liam Draper.
There he is.
Yep, right there.
Yep, there is Liam Draper. So it is Cody Barnes leading the way. He has gotten back around Liam Draper. These guys just trading laps led. And we did not see Ben Kelly, who was pretty close to those guys last lap. He has not checked through the GBC Tires pit stop area, so looking like he has lost some more time. Things coming off the rails a little bit today for your points leader. Stu Baylor, able to capitalize on some things coming his way, and Ben Kelly looking like he may relinquish that points lead unless he can pull off a miracle here in the final laps of this one.
Yeah, been a tough day for Ben Kelly. And, I was talking to him prior to the race, and he was feeling good. He's like, I'm finally feeling like myself on cue. There is Ben Kelly. He said, I'm starting to feel more like I did in the early part of 2022. So, man, tough break for him today. Still got some time. He can still click off a few positions. Few.
Definitely has some points left on the table that he could potentially claw back, but it would be very difficult for him at this point to get himself back up in the mix for that win. He's just, we'll see when they check in, but last lap he was, if we look at a lap's time, he was 1:48.47, so he was only 1 minute and 36 seconds out of the overall lead, and right now it is quite a bit more than that. I would say we're looking more upwards of 2 minutes, maybe closer to 2.5 at this point. So looking like he's going to be trying to stay inside that top 10, obviously trying to get into the top 5 if possible to get max points, but right now even that is a pretty big hill to climb for him here late in this one, as the white flag will be waving when we see these riders pop out. Stu Baylor on the 5:14 machine leading the way. Jordan Ashburn was right on his rear wheel, then it was about 10 seconds back, and now it's maybe 6 or 7. So will he be able to get back to that rear wheel or potentially even wrestle the lead back away from Stu Baylor?
And our whole shot winner, the Babbitt Kawasaki of Josh Strang, you saw him in the 3-rider battle there, battling with, I believe it was DeLong, another rider in the mixer, possibly Gerard. But depending on where Josh finishes, this could kind of bump him to that top of the second group there in points. Your top 3 several points away. We talk about how close it is, but Josh could be at the top end of that second group there, so not totally out of the picture there for the number 17.
There we see the 5:14 on screen. Stu Baylor leading the way. What is the gap back to his nearest competitor, which is the number 1 of Jordan Ashburn? that is the gap. That is how much real estate Stu Baylor has to work with. Jordan Ashburn still trying to push and claw for every second and every inch he wants to be in this race for the win. Right now, he's lacking just a few seconds to be there.
And that's capitalized position right there. That is, if Stu makes a mistake, I'm there to pick it up. If he drops it, I'm there. And so just far enough, white flag's waving, Stu comes through, and boom, right there is Jordan Ashburn.
Oh, Stu taking a big look over his shoulder. He wants to know how much room do I have? How much of a gap do I have? It's so frustrating at times when you're pushing, and you're thinking there's no way anyone else can match this pace. And he looks over and he sees he's still there. You know, it can be frustrating, but if you're Jordan Ashburn, you just got to keep clawing, because if he gets out of sight on you, it's so hard to bring him back.
So Stu Baylor, what was the lap time? 34.48,
No, 33.46, so a minute and 2 seconds faster than last lap. This is a full push pace that we talked about for these guys right now.
That's what I was going to say. And we're seeing it right now out of Ashburn as well, riding with a sense of urgency. He knows he's got to get back up there on that rear wheel of Stu Baylor. And, man, I like that. You know, Jordan's really fired back on him today. He hasn't checked up. He's got a good gap between him and third, obviously.
Yeah, 7.5 seconds is the official gap.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, one of those things where right now Jordan Ashburn, nothing to lose and everything to gain. He's got to lay it out there.
Yeah.
We'll see what the gap is, but it still have not seen our third place rider, which is physically on the track, Josh Strang, or was. Again, he had pressure from behind from the 969 of Johnny Gerard, and also pressure from the 342 of Craig DeLong. Those guys in a three-way battle over that final podium position in XC1. Whether or not that will be the podium overall, not looking good, because Cody Barnes is right there in their shadow, and he has a pretty good gap, give or take around a minute, and he's right now kind of in the same section of racetrack with those guys.
What is working for the Phoenix Honda team right now? It's been insane. Well, taking a look here, the John Penton GNCC, the longest standing track on our schedule. Over 30 years of racing action here. Stu Baylor trying to become the first two-time winner of 2023. Can he do it? Stick around, more GNCC after this.
Tires, a division of Greenball Corp, has been in the tire business for over 44 years. We're passionate about developing quality tires that perform great and bring extraordinary value to our customers. Whether you're looking for a tire that can handle your off-road adventures, need a reliable tire to take you from job site to job site, or simply want a tire with a beefier look that won't break the bank, then check out Canati Tires.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
In the premier form of off-road motorcycle racing in the world, it's the beginning of a new era. 17 Supercross, 11 motocross, and those 3 playoff rounds.
Super Motocross World Championship Final. Tickets on sale now. Visit supermotocross.com.
30-second card is up. We've talked all about it. We've watched practice and qualifying. We've theorized. We've bench raced. Now it is time to go. Racer up. Side by side we go. Jet Lord, Justin Cooper in front of the crowd. Winner from Chase Sexton. Did anyone else get up in the mix? They have been 1-2 in the last 7 motos of this championship. Here we go. Every race, every day, in every way. Print, social, digital, video, photo. Every race, every day. Every result, every story, every rider, everything. Moto every day with Racer X.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association has been setting a standard for motorcycle coaching since 2016. Coaching is important for all riders, no matter the age or skill level. The USMCA connects riders with coaches, whether the rider is just starting out on their motorcycling journey, to a competitive amateur racer looking to reach their next milestone, or the professional athlete trying to clinch a title. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app and get connected to a USMCA certified coach today.
GNCC Racing is brought to you by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. Welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. We are watching the Wiseco Performance Products, John Penton, GNCC. John Penton, where would we be without him, Johnny Gallagher?
Yeah, we would
maybe not here at all.
No,
quite frankly,
we wouldn't have this race, and we're looking back to where would we be if we didn't have this race last year? And out front, grabbing the early lead, looked like it was going to be the 212 of Ricky Russell, but Josh Strang sneaking around the inside. And folks, you want to talk about slick? This one took slick to a whole new level.
Boy, that's right, man. What a difference a year makes. Completely forgotten about that.
Josh Toth up in the mix. They're no longer racing here with us in GNCC.
Trevor Bollinger,
Grant Baylor, Craig DeLong.
What a great day for Strang. Every time you think Strang, oh, he's in the twilight of his career, he's just out there, he's as long as it's fun, keep racing. He comes out of nowhere and just seems to find a way to win. It's eluded him this season, at least to this point, but quite frankly, anything can happen this year. Good shot of Ricky Russell, the 2-1-2, and there he is, Josh Strang. At that time, the 114, changing his number in this season to the 17. I think for a few reasons. I believe 17th year.
17th year,
yeah.
And he earned number 17.
And, yeah, so he said, okay, this works.
technical section there, working his way up that very rocky creek bed, followed closely by Ricky Russell, the number 212 machine there. Craig DeLong, another rider that definitely not quite up as far as he would be later when we came back here in a few months, but was up in the mix early on this one, running in a podium position. There we see Jordan Ashburn, now donning the number 1, and just behind him looks like it was the 206 of Josh Toth. He was on that Red Bull FMF KTM last year and up in the mix in this one throughout the day. On rails. I mean, the guy just clicked it up a gear. You can see just calm, cool, collected, got it done. A struggle of a season to that point for Josh Strang, and what a breakthrough win it was for him. You could see just happy to be at the finish line, as slick as that one was, and even happier to be in the center of the box.
Cool day. Cool day. What a difference a year makes.
There is your leader on screen. Stu Baylor looking to be the one standing in the center of the box today. That 514 machine out front, standing up, calm, cool, collected, and not much of a gap. Jordan Ashburn is still there, folks. He is not letting this one go. He's going to fight it right down to the wire with Stu Baylor.
This is what we wanted to see, too. We've been talking a lot about the fight that we're seeing in Jordan Ashburn, and good to see that the pace is there, the ability to go all the way towards the end of the race, 2.5 hours down, and this is where it's really, they're going to start swinging and see how it all ends up. Taking a look now, and got to mention those XC2 leaders as well. Cody Barnes and Liam Draper both showing Barnes 3rd overall at the moment there on that Phoenix Racing Honda, and really just been, seems like these last 2 weekends. Last weekend it was his teammate Mike Wachowski we were talking about along with Liam Draper, but those top XC2 riders really getting in the mix for the overalls.
Yeah, and only 3.9 seconds between them when they finished up the completion of lap number 4. So they're out there on lap number 5. You got to believe still just throwing down on each other. 3.9 seconds apart, which is equating to wheel multiple times, probably swapping positions. We've seen them. They have each alternated laps led. Liam Draper led lap 1, Cody Barnes led lap 2, Liam Draper led lap 3, and then it was Cody Barnes back to the point position on lap number 4. So they are taking turns leading, but they are not exactly in an agreement. They are pushing the pace. Josh Strang, there he is. He has actually broken away a bit from that battle, which was Craig DeLong on the 342 machine, and then also Johnny Girard on that 969. So he is now looking to be in sole position of that 3rd place spot in the XC1 class. Whether or not he has enough juice to pull away from Cody Barnes and Liam Draper for the overall, what the gap was, there is the 969 of Girard.
I think there's a chance that DeLong might have made the pass. We saw that rider come through. You were looking at the stat sheet, and I couldn't quite tell the number on it. I'm waiting to see. So there's Grant Baylor. So either Craig DeLong made the pass or he's fallen out of this freight train right there, but it was only maybe a second or 2 in front of Johnny Girard.
Tell you what, GNCC Racing, you look away from the action for just a split second and you miss a lot. I miss Craig DeLong coming through, it sounds like. There is Cody Barnes and Liam Draper. So Barnes still leading the way, Draper still in his shadow. So it does appear that Craig DeLong now is up to the 3rd place spot and with a little bit of a gap over Josh Strang. Regardless, those 3 that were wheel to wheel have all stretched out. So it's DeLong up to 3rd, Strang in 4th, and Johnny Girard in 5th as they run out here with just a few miles of racing left. They do still have the John Penton section, which is basically like taking all those things, putting them in a bag, shaking them up, and seeing how they come out the other side.
Taking a look at one of our other riders going through there.
Is a lapped rider working through. The next rider we should see coming through our camera shot should be the 530 of Ben Kelly, but he was in that 9th place overall, but 1 minute and 2 seconds behind Grant Baylor when they checked in at the completion of lap number 4. So it does not appear that he's been able to make any inroads just yet into getting up in there and trying to gain a few more points. Up to 9th, was 10th last lap, so 9th would net him 12 points in that overall championship hunt. But man, Stu Baylor, if he's able to grab the win today, there is Kelly on screen, the 530 Red Bull FMF KTM. If Stu Baylor's able to get the win, that's 30 points, so that would be an 18-point swing. Obviously, we know that Stu Baylor was 6 points down coming into today, which would mean he would catapult himself to 13 points, or wait, now my math just broke, at 12 points ahead of Ben Kelly. No, I got it. You don't need the calculator. It is still 12.
So
I forgot. We got the calculator here. But, yeah, he was 6 points down coming in today. So that would be an 18-point swing, meaning he would be 12 points ahead of Ben Kelly. But, again, we talked about Adam Gordon doing some math. Sounds like actually Craig DeLong, especially now that he's up to that third-place spot, would also leapfrog his training partner. We are told we may have a new leader on screen, and we do. Jordan Ashburn has wrestled the lead away from Stu Baylor. Folks, this one is going to be a barn burner right down to the wire. Jordan Ashburn retaking the lead after giving it up just a lap ago. Stu Baylor relinquishes it back to Jordan Ashburn, and these guys now, we're really down to the nitty-gritty here, boys.
Oh, we said they're swinging, and they're knockout swinging now, without a doubt. Ashburn, just when you thought it looked like Baylor had maybe broke him, he's starting to pull away. Ashburn reels him back in, makes the pass, and this is going to be fun. They've been just close like this for so long to bring it all the way down the line. This is going to be fun, but Ashburn trying to ride away right now.
Ashburn was, he was definitely in that position, like you were saying, Zach, earlier, of if Baylor makes a mistake, he's going to be right there. We didn't catch it on camera, but I think clearly what happened right there, and Stu riding like a wild man right now. A lot of little foot dabs here and there. He wants that first place position back.
Well, and we talk about it oftentimes when those guys are out front, they got two options. I mean, they're going to keep running full throttle, full pace, and hope I don't make a mistake. Sometimes you do cause yourself to make a mistake, but sometimes checking up, even ever so slightly, breaks the concentration and forces a mistake as well.
Well, guys, a couple laps ago, we asked the question, who is in the better position? It was Jordan Ashburn ahead, had already pitted. Stu Baylor was behind, had not yet pitted. I said in that moment, I liked where Jordan Ashburn was at. I got to be honest with you guys. Right now, I want to be Stu Baylor. I want to be sitting in that catbird seat. Jordan Ashburn pushing the pace, obviously wanting the lead. Maybe he feels he's got a little more pace and can ride away. But as they sit, as they're running, Stu Baylor right on his rear wheel between lapped riders, the way the lines are, and the section of racetrack they have ahead with that Penton section. I'm telling you right now, I want to be Stu Baylor. I think it gives me more opportunities to capitalize on a potential mistake or even a potential line that I may have tucked in my back pocket versus if you're Jordan Ashburn, you're just riding around with a massive target on your back right
Yeah, and really a lot of race left. I know last lap, but we're only right about halfway through or a little over halfway through this last lap. We got 17 minutes that Ashburn's got to hang on to that lead.
Well, in motocross and supercross, oftentimes the tracks are broken into 2 or 3 segments. Out here, when you talk about a section in track that you may have in mind, what type of distance are we talking about? Are you talking about Jordan could be thinking, hey, I've got these 3 miles that I know I'm faster, or is it, hey, this 200-foot section in my head is a spot I got to make it happen at?
Well, if you're talking about making an attack in terms of trying to break away or trying to close a gap, you would be talking about obviously a full section of racetracks. Like if maybe one guy feels he's better in the technical stuff, he wants to be out front in that Penton section because he wants to be able to ride away. If one guy feels he's better in the grass track, like what's what we're seeing here, he may say, hey man, I feel like I can make up 8, 10, 12 seconds in just this 2-3 minute section of racetrack. But when you're talking about striking, when you're talking about actually making a pass, a lot of times these guys will find that one line that they feel like nobody else is using or no one else has seen, and they'll kind of tuck it away in their back pocket knowing, hey, if I swing wide here, I can cross over these ruts here, and I can go up this bank where everybody else is going through this section. And these are completely legal lines, well within the 25-foot either way of the racetrack that is allowed here in GNCC racing, and that's what I mean in terms of having a line tucked away in your back pocket.
That's the type of that's the racer mentality only Johnny G can provide for us right there.
Hey, I don't know how to do it, but I know how to talk about it.
Those that can't, or those that can do, and those that can't, Johnny, they talk about it in the announcing booth.
That's right. I am retired. I no longer do. But if you guys want to go get me a nice milkshake and maybe some chicken nuggets,
there you go.
I'll tell you some more fun stuff.
Amen. Amen.
Man, so that's a shakeup. I'm not going to lie. I mean,
I did not expect that.
I know Jordan's got it.
There is Craig DeLong, guys. I think that is it Craig?
No, I think that's Jordan and Stu.
That is Jordan and Stu, yeah. Thought we were panning back to that previous camera shot. But so Jordan's still leading the way, and Stu still putting a lot of pressure on him. But I got to tell you guys, Jordan looks comfy. And I mentioned before, right now, Jordan Ashburn has the target on his back. But what better feeling than riding the last, as you pointed out, 17 minutes of racetrack and knowing, hey, I was able to have the best of the best behind me, and he couldn't get me.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's big. I go back to what you were saying earlier on inside line with Stu Baylor, or what Stu said, I guess, was Jordan Ashburn was riding a pace just a few weeks ago that, hey, I really wasn't comfortable running that pace. Maybe Ashburn's still got some of that left in the tank here at the end of this one.
Well, one thing we know he has in the tank right now, and that's a lot of ammunition.
There you go.
And, you know, having what he felt was surely likely a podium at least torn away from him just 2 weeks ago, and a shot at the win. And, you know, all sometimes you want is that chance. You want a chance to show what you can do. Jordan had that stripped away from him with an unfortunate mechanical 2 weeks ago. So you got to believe that fire, that grit, that chip, that fight that we saw as he came across, and he was visibly upset, and understandably so. Actually had kind of launched his goggles and some other things, was not happy. You know, that is the kind of stuff that, you know, you can go back to deep into one like this. 2 hours and 40 minutes into this, you know these guys are tired. You know they're mentally and physically exhausted, but you can go back to that feeling of, man, that was mine. I had it taken away. Today I'm going to prove that, and I have a feeling that's where Jordan Ashburn's mindset is right now.
That's right. You know, if you were watching that from an outside perspective, Johnny, you and I, we both agreed on it that we liked seeing that out of Jordan Ashburn. Uncharacteristic of him, but we want to see that fire. We want to see that almost anger and angst in him, and he knows how to channel that. He's a consummate professional. He's put that in his back pocket, and I agree with you. I think he's using that as motivation today.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't like Jordan, you know, when he had that bike expire and pushed it across the finish. Keep in mind, too, when you want to talk about the mental angst that he was feeling, not only did his bike expire, he had to physically himself push that thing across the machine to get credit for that, or across the line to get credit for that lap. So he was physically exhausted, mentally devastated, emotionally devastated, and, you know, I'm sure those emotions were just raw and pure. And by no means was he disrespectful to most people or anything like that. He just kind of, you know, just let his frustrations out.
Yeah, these I think sometimes the athletes, the fans almost, they forget they're people. You know, they've got the emotions, they've got feelings, and at the end of the day, it's difficult for them. They get hurt or they have bad luck. Liam Draper, another one, so close to being able to make it happen, and just a couple of 100 feet away from the line, and Mike takes it from him. And he wasn't mad at Mike. He was happy for Mike, but at the same time, it's just so crushing to be so close because they put so much. It's not like some of these other sports. It's a full lifestyle, sun up to sundown, 365.
Hey, man. Getting down to the nitty-gritty here. What, about 12 minutes out?
12 minutes.
It's an eternity. If you're Jordan Ashburn right now, really, if you're Stu Baylor, he's probably thinking minutes feel like seconds right now as they're clicking off the clock.
Yeah, without a doubt, and it's the same for me right now because I'm anxious. We got two totally different storylines going on. We got, you know, will we see the first person to get 2 wins this season, or will we see the 7th winner in 7 rounds out here? It's truly remarkable no matter how you scrape it, how you look at it, and honestly, truly remarkable to see the way this course is shaping up. The John Penton doing exactly what we knew it would. We saw, I didn't believe him, folks. I'm going to tell you at home, for those of you that weren't here, you didn't see it. Muddy is an understatement, wet an understatement. It was downright gross. I'm going to just say it. And I had multiple people, Mikey Wayne's included, tell me, hey, I'm telling you what, let the sun come out and you're going to see dust before it's all said and done. And sure enough, we're seeing it out here right now. But nonetheless, Stu Baylor and Jordan Ashburn going at it. We got the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Teely Energy KTM versus that Magna 1 Husqvarna team. And they've gone all the way. They've been up front pretty much the entire race. And we talk about the pacing that Stu Baylor mentioned at the last race. So not only have they been running a lot of pace, they've been running it for close to an entire 3-hour-long race. They've been at the front. They've been swapping back and forth. So the heart rate's probably been staying a little bit higher than they would have even when they were trying to go into reserve mode, as they like to say.
Reserve, I like that, reserve mode. Always got a little left in the tank. It's so crazy you talk about that, Zach, and I know you've had the front row seat for it now for 7 rounds of racing, but we talk about that 3rd hour. Okay, 2 hours is one thing. 3 hours on Sunday is gnarly. It's like nothing else in the world. And you got guys out here that I'm not going to say they're not going to be winded after this one, because Ashburn hauling the mail, Baylor hauling the mail, both of them won it, but they'll take a few deep breaths and then they're ready to talk on a camera and be cognizant of their surroundings and aware of themselves.
It's so crazy, you know, that anaerobic recovery rate. It goes from you're beating off the BPM just crazy to all of a sudden, whew, you got your breath under you. It was so funny. Johnny Gerard takes the win. He goes riding off to KTM. We're freaking out trying to figure out. He comes sprinting up on a bicycle.
Oh,
He's been riding for 3 hours, comes rolling up on a bicycle. I'm like, dude, how do you have the strength to do that? And so it just goes to show they're specimens. They're athletes in its purest form, and they're getting the job done right now. And both Stu Baylor and Jordan Ashburn, we know they've got the ability. Stu's proven it once even this year. He can get the win, but we all know Jordan's carrying that number 1 for a reason. He can get the job done as well.
That's absolutely right.
So now we continue to wait. Should be, let's see, close to just under 10 minutes away now before we expect to see your leader.
We should see these guys popping out at the 7-mile marker. We've got that camera shot, and then we've also got the drone action that we've been able to see all through that section on the opposite side of the road, where actually looks like Zach is going to head down and get ready for some post-race interviews to be able to really call this one as it comes down to the nitty-gritty. We're waiting on the leaders here at the 7-mile marker at the Race Wheels Method Alley, and who is it going to be? Will it be the big number 1 of Jordan Ashburn still leading the way, or will the 5:14 of Stu Baylor be able to wrestle the lead back away? These guys have been absolutely throwing down these last couple laps, and look at this. Here it is, folks, on screen. Jordan Ashburn leading the way, hot on his heels, though. It is the 5:14 of Stu Baylor. Folks, do not look away from your TVs. Do not look away from your screens. Get ready for this one, because we are going to see them here in just a matter of a few seconds from our Yamaha Live drone. We're going to see the shots that we've seen so many times already today. These guys come out to the opposite side, the non-motocross side of this facility, and they have got some serious passing opportunities, and it is going to be a wild one. Folks, we are joined in the booth by GNCC royalty, Rodney Tomlin, coming in to help us call the end of this one. Rodney, look at this. Jordan Ashburn still leading the way. Stu Baylor hot on his heels, and this is an all-out sprint for the finish line, Rodney.
Well, I'll tell you what, Johnny, this takes me back to the day of the early days, if you will, back to the Scott Summers, the Rodney Smiths, and of course all these other guys that you can think of that battled it out like this, Fred Andrews and all those guys, the way that they diced it out down to the very end. And this one right here is going to be exactly one of those. You never knew who was going to win on any given day at a GNCC, and I believe that this is exactly what we're looking at today, with 6 different winners through 6 different rounds, and the likelihood and now at least possibility of a 7th winner here in this 7th round of racing. This, in my at least memory, is the first time this has ever happened this many races deep.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we've ever seen 7 race winners in a season. And one thing to look back, just 2 laps ago when they were coming in, the lap that they both stopped for fuel, and we knew Stu Baylor had to stop for fuel, right through this section, Jordan Ashburn was leading. Stu Baylor was able to get a beat on him and make the pass out in the field and wrestle the lead away from him before they actually got to the pits and the finish line area. That said, will he be able to do it again, or did he use up his one shot? Folks, look at this. Stu Baylor running it up the inside. Jordan Ashburn shutting him down. This is the corner where the last 2 laps ago the pass happened. I'm so excited I can't even make words. Stu Baylor going to square him up and try and run around the outside is where he made the pass last time. Jordan Ashburn got wise and shut that line down.
Well, I saw a lot of time being made up by Stu Baylor through that last little woods section, and you saw him coming in on the attack as they opened up into this field section. But wow, the way that Jordan Ashburn lit it up there, he was not going to let Stu Baylor by any stretch of the imagination. If Stu was going to get by, he was certainly going to have to work for it. And I'm watching Jordan ride right now at levels that I'm not sure that I've ever seen Jordan ride at. You talk about pushing that envelope, and Jordan's always been kind of, once he gets to that certain point, he shuts her down. But we've also seen a lot of aggression out of Jordan Ashburn last year in the bid for that first championship, and without a win this year and 6 different winners, I know that he's thinking it's my turn and it's time to start making up some points if I intend to be in a battle for the points by the end of this season.
Piggyback off of that, Rodney, you think 2022, Jordan Ashburn had to hear all the chatter of everybody saying, yeah, you won, yeah, you got the title, but, however,
right.
Today, no, say something now. And he's a professional. He's not going to say that after the race. I'll say it for him. Say something.
Yeah,
say something about this performance.
The beauty of this performance, though, it is a straight up dual mono shootout. Nobody having any what you call real issues. Nothing really separating these guys. These guys have been with each other for at least the last 3 laps, battling like this. And of course, it's going to go right down to the wire. I mean, And now every little move and every small mistake becomes monumental at this point, especially with Stu Baylor that close. He's going to try to capitalize as much as he can.
Absolutely. Jordan Ashburn looking like he's hitting his marks. And like you said, Rodney, an absolute push pace for these guys. You say he's riding at levels that you've never seen before. I think Jordan Ashburn is riding at levels that he's not super comfortable with right now, but so is Stu Baylor. Neither one of these guys is leaving anything on the table. You can see the entire Magna One Motorsports Husqvarna team out there cheering Jordan on, and he's actually able to make it work and open up a bit of a gap in that section. And folks, they're gonna disappear on us here for a little bit, and there may be some more action going on, but wow, what a battle we just witnessed, and we're gonna see a little more of it this time. Looks like we got a little drone battery left, and we're gonna follow these guys as long as we possibly can with this Yamaha live drone and see if we can catch potentially some more lead swaps as they work their way towards the finish line, the final miles of racing.
All right, here
it is still Ashburn, and there is Stu Baylor, but man, are they close.
This is insane.
All of a sudden becoming a fan again.
Oh, absolutely.
Holding here, you know, bated breath that we talk about. I'm actually holding my breath right now, just watching this happen and unfold. You know, looking at the likelihood of a third win in his career for Jordan Ashburn. And again, I think equally as important, maybe even more so for the history of GNCC, a 7th winner in 7 rounds of racing. And this is pretty exciting stuff. I know, Mikey, before the start of today's race, you said this was going to be a historic day of racing at the John Penton GNCC. You hit the nail on the head.
Hey, you know what? We got to do our part to make Mr. John Penton proud. He is an American veteran. He did so much for our industry. We're so grateful to him and glad we're putting on a show right here, or at least Jordan Ashburn and Stu Baylor are putting on a show for you.
Well, they dive down into the woods section. Looks like Stu Baylor still on the attack. They're gapping just a little bit coming through that section. You have to wonder, does he have a line picked out here in this last tree section that we're traveling through before we hit the finish line?
Yeah, we basically got a long section along this back edge of woods, and then they're gonna pop out again. We'll see him here on camera from there, and here they are. Jordan Ashburn still leading the way, and still just that few bike lengths. Definitely not enough ground for him to feel comfortable. I mean, Stu Baylor is right there, and there's a couple multi-line sections coming up.
And a lapped rider just ahead of them as they enter this section. I know that these woods are a little more wide open than what a lot of woods are on the GNCC circuit, but at the same time, with the conditions that we're seeing, we know that the lines are getting less out there today than what they may be under normal circumstances.
Yeah, we talked about that before. The way this racetrack is developing, it is lending itself to that one fast line, everything around it being pretty chewed up. And there is the leader, Jordan Ashburn, and Stu Baylor. It's almost like the live drone has a beacon on these guys. They pop out right at the perfect time. Our drone pilot doing a phenomenal job of catching this action for us. So, Gabe, thank you so much for bringing us this action. Yamaha, thank you so much for sponsoring this. You are getting to see things that normally we absolutely would not be able to see, and we're coming down to just a couple more camera shots. These guys are just taking away the mile markers.
A beautiful day here in southeastern Ohio, paying homage to, well, one of the greatest men, I guess you could say the father of off-road motorcycle racing in its modern era. And of course, with that being said, how many is it, 33 years you've been coming here?
You guys know better. I believe 1990, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Hey, I raced here.
That's so cool.
Wow. So here we go. You would have never known that it would have grown to this, and you would see this kind of history being written here. Look at this. We're getting
this is not it just yet. They still got another little section before they get to here.
We're getting down to the nitty-gritty, though. These lines are going to get exciting, especially if they come in tight.
Mikey Waynes has his hands over his head. He thought that was it. He thought that was the battle. This is not the leaders working their way to the finish. This is those same 3 we just saw there in that. Nope. They still. We've still got one more camera shot. We're going to catch them. This is a battle, but it is not the battle for your overall win. This is still. It is. Here it is, folks. Jordan Ashburn leading the way, almost clipping that tree. Now we are down to nothing but 2 corners standing between Jordan Ashburn and the 7th winner of 2023 in 7 rounds. Look at this, folks. Keep your eyes glued on him. There is Stu Baylor, but ahead of him, there is the big number 1 of Jordan Ashburn. A left rider in the way. This one is getting exciting.
Bring us home, Rodney Tomlin.
Through the final section of racetrack, Jordan Ashburn makes his way home here in Ohio to be the 7th winner of 2023 and his 3rd win of his career.
I could not believe what we just witnessed. Jordan Ashburn is a happy guy. And folks, you want to talk about how much they were hanging it out? Did you see? Look at the leaves stuck in Jordan Ashburn's goggles there. That was a result of him connecting with that tree just 4 turns from the finish, fully sprinting, knowing he needed to close the door because Stu Baylor was going to run it in any opportunity he left.
Anybody that last year, and I'm talking to the people in the social media comments that discredited this man for saying, yeah, he's doing well, but however, therefore, no, forget it. Today it was mano a mano, him against Stu Baylor. And
you want to talk about emotion? Jordan Ashburn closed his eyes, looked up at the sky.
Thank you.
Thank you. He is just absolutely pumped to get this win today.
Digging deep, obviously wanting it, and finding everything that he needed and falling into place perfect, not only for Jordan Ashburn, but for the GNCC racing fan as well. I mean, this has been such a blessing and such a treat for us all to be able to bear witness to. And again, this puts him, gives him a few extra points, and with the way the finish, it'll be interesting to see what the points breakdown is at the end of this one. Obviously, Stu's still going to be up there pretty nice, but this is going to start picking him up. And as we head into we're already in the second half of the season. This could get pretty exciting heading down to Ironman.
Looking forward to hearing from Jordan Ashburn down there, and it give you a little history. I didn't know this. His first XC2 win was actually here at the Penton, and then I said, well, of course, last year you wrapped up the championship
this is
here.
It
was the Burr Oak, but nonetheless, this property's been good to Jordan Ashburn. Well, what a day. Looks like Jackson Burrell standing by with Jordan Ashburn.
All right, guys, I'm here with your overall winner for the first time this season, Jordan Ashburn. Jordan, take me through today and what this means.
Man, it means so much. We talked about it earlier on the Racer TV. This was my first XC2 win, and we ended up winning the championship here and getting our first. It's just awesome. I don't even kind of lost for words right now. It was an absolute epic day, and man, Stu had the heat on me, and the pressure was insane. But man, I'm pumped. I'm so pumped to get a win and be number 7 now.
That's what I was going to ask, Jordan. How does it feel to make history and be the 7th winner in 7 rounds?
It's awesome, man. All these guys are so fast right now, and it's just the level is just really intense. And it's so difficult to be in the front all day here, and we got it done today, and I'm happy. And looking forward to hopefully getting another one for the years out and land on the podium the rest of the race.
All right, guys, that's your overall winner, Jordan Ashburn.
Man, what an impressive ride by Ashburn, and he summarized it, lost for words. That was as cool a race as we've had in a long time, Rodney.
Absolutely, and one thing to point out too, one thing that Jordan is noted for is consistency, and consistently being up on the podium all year, and that's another thing that he hasn't done this season. Right. So if he turns that around and gets back into that consistency, and that consistency factor weighs in, man, this, like I say, the championship's going to probably be down between more than 2 people. I mean, we've seen it happen like 2 people a few times in recent history, but I don't think that we're going to have the multitude of riders gunning for the championship like what we're going to have this year.
Guys, we've got some updates for you. Johnny Girard comes in and wrestles away that final podium spot, not only in XC1 but also in the overall. He makes those passes on Josh Strang and Craig DeLong in the final miles of racetrack, coming out with P3 in the overall and in XC1. Cody Barnes takes the win in XC2 by 1.07 seconds over Liam Draper. Those guys battled it right down to the wire. Shout out to Josh Strang coming through 4th place in the overall, only 1.6 seconds behind Johnny Girard. So absolute battles in not only for the win, which we saw live on screen, but we also had some battles coming down for the final podium position and for the win in XC2. Close racing here today at the Weisco John Penton GNCC.
Phoenix Racing Honda team. They are doing work in the XC
All
too.
3 riders have now won a race in 2023, and hopefully we can get a word with this guy right here. Looks like Zach Herron is with Stu Baylor, and we'll get his words on how it all went down today.
Yeah, guys, we're standing here with the 514. Stu Baylor, man, what a battle it was between you and Jordan Ashburn. Bringing home second on the day. I see the sleeve is ripped. Clearly, you fought hard for it. How you feeling?
Yeah, definitely. It was a good day all in all. Lost brakes with 2 to go, and it is what it is. It was gnarly. I hit a lot. I ran over more shit than I needed to just to get myself slowed down out there. But yeah, it was one of those tracks where riding without rears wasn't crazy, but it definitely played an advantage in some of this stuff. But part of it, we train that shit every week, and I'm prepared for it. And we've got that white plate back, and at the end of the day, consistency's paying off. Felt like I rode a winning race again. Just little things. The rear brake with almost two full laps left. That was a struggle. I was about to go down. I was just getting down on myself for about half a lap, and I was like, you know what? I've done this shit before. Let's go. And dug deep and rode as best we could. Put a lot of pressure. Almost made the pass a couple times in the last couple miles, but yeah, lost the lead on the last lap. Got pointed around the hill climb by somebody, and I don't know. In that gnarly Penton section, like you see somebody pointing, and you automatically just go that way. That was the first guy I picked up and went around, and Ashburn made that pass. It was a big, way long line to go around. I didn't expect it. Never walked it. But shout out to the whole Rocky Mountain Teely Racing KTM team, Loud Fuel, Steel City Men's Clinic, MSR, Tusk, Dunlop, XC Gear, ODI, Redline Oil. Peralta RV Superstore, Shoei Helmets, CD Boots, or Forma Boots, 9-2 Goggles, all the fans out there, my wife, my family, the whole team, everybody out in the woods, man. This Ohio crowd, Ohio, West Virginia, that's the mecca for GNCC, and they were out there in that Penton section, and you can count on them out there to pull you out.
There you go. Stu Baylor focusing on the big picture, grabbing a second on the day.
Well, I'll tell you guys, very impressive. And I didn't want to say anything, but, I was watching this and I was wondering, you never want to take anything away from Stu and his attrition and his level of endurance and things like that. But down to the wire, man, today, you can tell that he laid everything out there today. There's no doubt about it. And you know that Jordan did just exactly the same thing. These guys have really...
All right, guys, I'm here with your third on the day, Johnny Gerard. Johnny, man, take me through your day.
Yeah, that was wild. I got out front. Josh Strang got the whole shot. I think I was third. Ricky kind of went wide, third corner. I was in second. Found myself in the lead. Didn't really want to be there. Ricky was going good. I let him by. He kind of passed me and just followed. And yeah, and then I made a couple mistakes and found myself in fifth, stalled the bike. And then, yeah, that last lap it was on and put the hammer down, and Craig got stuck on a hill and kind of got by Josh and put the hammer down and had a big cartwheel and got up and still kept charging. And yeah, Josh finished right behind me, but it was good. I'm happy.
How does it feel to make it on the podium again after just making it on the last round, getting that win?
It feels good. It feels like we're building momentum, so it's always a good thing.
All right, everybody, that is your third place, Johnny Gerard.
Momentum builder for Johnny Gerard, obviously backing up that win with another podium. Momentum builder for all these guys. I mean, Stu Baylor getting that leader's point, or leader's reverse plate. Josh Strang getting up there with a solid fourth place finish. One rider apparently losing a little momentum on that last lap. We saw Ben Kelly was up to 9th place overall. Your top 11 overall have checked in, and as yet, still no Ben Kelly. So he has lost a couple positions and quite a bit of time here on this last lap of racing. We will have to... We're being told right now that Ben Kelly is having bike trouble, which could be leading to, why he was a little bit further back. But now it's led to potentially dropping him even more points. We're still not showing our 12th place rider in. We're waiting on Ben Kelly, Ricky Russell. We have our top 11 overall checked in and still waiting. So we may not be able to bring you that news, but check the GNCC website for all those results, because that will loom large in the points for this GNCC championship. championship. Obviously, we know our new leader, Stu Baylor, with the leader's reverse plate.
Hey, we got a new points leader. We got, well, what else is new? We got a 7th winner in 7 rounds of racing. Jordan Ashburn, the latest of those names. Hey, now pressure's on Josh Strang. Pressure's on Josh Strang in a couple of weeks. He's got to be.
If we get eight XC1 guys and all 8 win a race, that's like just drop the mic. We're done.
It's incredible.
Here's something else to look at, guys. You got Liam Draper and Cody Barnes who have been battling it the way that they have. Who's to say that they might be in number 8 or number 9 this year?
I mean, throw Rui Barbosa and Mike Bukowski and Ryder Lafferty and all those other guys.
Up.
Yeah, I mean,
the kind of Blackwater 100 starts. Oh, it's exciting. We're only just halfway through the season, getting to the nitty gritty of this one. But that's going to do it for us for today. Want to thank everybody who helps us out: Jackson Burrell, Zach Herron, Johnny Gallagher, the Rodney Tomlin with us. Rodney, thanks for joining us today.
Hey man, pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah. Shout out to our camera operators, Buford, Adam, Matt, Josh, John, and Noah. Our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl. Our spotter, Hollywood. Our EIC, Jordan McFadden. Our director, Dylan Acord. Producer, Adam Gordon. And, of course, our executive producer, Miss Carrie Jo Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes. We'll see you at the races.